These aren't the two names that we normally get to talk about with this team, so that's pretty cool.
This is the thing, right? I mean, everyone's always Hakatori, but we've seen Ferris and Sosa really step up. We saw it in the EMEA. They didn't quite attain the heights that they needed to, Avenger. However, 24 points for these boys. They're becoming a team where every component is moving in the correct direction.
Yeah, and that's really the case here. When you're playing, 2 tournaments, the more that you play, the more oil you can get in the gears, and it's moving, shifting towards everything here. That's working out well for them. But for me here, for Na'Vi, the reason why they're able to hold on to this, the greedy 2-2 split, to lock down everything in the north, to be that last team to then third-party twist it, to then throw nades on Alcatzir. Yeah. They're making sure that they could play as the only team coming in from that side. And yeah, that's pushing them far up the leaderboard.
Well, that said, Twisted Mind still in number 1, 73 points. They did have a little bit to their name. Obviously, moving onto that high ground was kind of almost a foregone conclusion. Sure. But once you're up there and the circle shifts away, Toffees, where else are you going to go? And they knew that they had to try and salvage something.
I think there's nowhere they could have gone on that side of the circle where if the circle moved away, you have an option, right? They were just sort of like, we have to pray for the shift. And it is like that. Taking a look at Gen G here, I want to give a shout out to the Leviathan Orca, who has been bailing out this team by getting every single kill and carrying them as much as they possibly can. Orca looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when you're carrying your team like this, and also the points that he's gotten just from kills, basically salvaged this game.
Yep.
Going from a terrible game to, okay, it's fine, we're keeping our averages high here.
I didn't expect him to do so. Whale.
There you go. The players are being summoned here as I hate that. We have got ourselves Miramar once again. The Dusty Dunes on the way. Let's get into game number 2 of the day here for PGS 9 Grand Finals Day 2.
What am I supposed to say after that? What am I supposed to say? Oh, it's such a good, bad joke at the same time.
It was.
I love you, Toffee.
It was. I mean, he definitely didn't
It's so,
pop.
I mean, it was right there. I mean, if anything, I'm kind of mad that I didn't see it myself.
Yeah, that's true.
Respect.
He beat us to the punch on that one. Oh, well.
Okay, back into what's going on. We got a plane path. It's going to be over into the northwest and in kind of center-south, so... I mean, long drops if we're looking at maybe Forest or anybody else that's been kind of going to Crew to Valle. But outside, I mean, we did see that little bit of a firefight that happened at the beginning of last year. So maybe that might be off the table this time.
Yeah, since the alt drops are going to be coming into play for some of the teams, it feels like, at least for Bagel Pod, they don't have to worry about Forest nipping at their heels this time around as Na'Vi, stellar stuff. Hakatori had quite a few kills, but it was Ferris who was doing the brunt of the damage. The IGL for Na'Vi really stepping up, had some huge grenades in particular that broke open some of those fights for Na'Vi. And again, it's about the way that they set up those shooting maneuvers, the mortars as well, to keep Twisted Minds really off balance. All of those things so well thought out in the heat of the moment.
The timing on it was what just absolutely blew my mind. Whenever they used the mortars, they waited until they knew that Twisted was about to have to move. Whenever they stepped into position to defend in, very southern circle. Is this now potentially a Partona game?
This one is unlikely, but at least has a little bit of hope. I'd say like that's less than 10%.
That's the Miramar Island game I can get behind. Give me some Partona.
Every once in a while, you get those circles that end up between Prison and Partona as well that are pretty wild. There's a couple of those compounds out there.
I had one of those right before we came over here, and it was unpleasant due to the lack of cover that can sometimes happen over there. I mean, you do get a couple of interesting hillside firefights.
Yeah, and at least there's a couple extra options to get over to that island now with the bridges and the zip lines.
True.
So there's the ability to do things. As you can see, the damage numbers there through the roof. Sosa doing a ton of damage, even though the kill count not nearly as high. So you got to like that from Na'Vi. Everybody getting involved, everybody doing their part behind some great decision-making, some great grenades. That's the recipe for a chicken dinner in PUBG, and those guys absolutely were cooking.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, and I know we've been saying this for so long with Na'Vi, but once they really, on the international stage, gel the consistency there, because when we see them have their big games, boy, they are super technical, super smart, and absolute banger firefights. It's just sometimes the next game doesn't always go the best. But whenever they can start to gel that and start kind of rallying it, it's gonna be a problem for this lobby.
Exactly. We're looking at some of these grenades, some of the shots. You know, Fairest is going to be lighting up the highlight reel here with some of these. The shots on the 17, the grenades there, the follow-up from Hakatori, perfect. And again, it's the shooting that they used to pin Alcadzia into this position to set up the push, knowing that they had that hillside for a little bit of cover, as well as E-Arena tunneled in a bit onto Alcadzia, open up that space for them to make that maneuver, and then they're able to just kind of lock E-Arena out, even though E-Arena, I think, had a pretty okay chance there to maybe turn that fight on its head, but a big win onto Opans out in the middle of that final circle gave them the ability to just shut the round down.
Teams in good positions already. VP, Full Sense, who we didn't see a lot of inside the last game. Alcadzia yet again. The Expendables already going to be playing in the northern section of Chumacera. E-Arena is going to be regrouping right alongside of Full Sense. Team Liquid also making a very early rotate, but we've got Opans with some insights on what's going on with their squad.
ก็เป็นวันที่ดีครับทำให้เราได้ให้ผมรู้สึกว่าผมเล่นได้อย่างที่ผมคิดคือผมทำได้ในระดับนี้ครับก็คือเราแก้ด้วยการรอบคอลิฟายเราไม่ค่อยกล้าหาคิวครับคือเราจะเน้นปิดไกลแต่ว่าเราทำไม่ได้ครับเลยทำให้เราเล่นได้ไม่ดีเท่าที่ควรแต่พอเราแก้มา ก็ทำให้เราได้ดีขึ้นครับก็วันนั้นเราไปกินข้าวครับเลยคือเราปล่อยจอยกันแล้วว่าเรา50-50อะไรครับก็คือแต่พอเรากลับมาเราก็เริ่มมาดูเกมหลังๆเราก็ดูรู้สึกว่าเรามีหวังมากขึ้นเรื่อยๆเราก็ลุ้นกันครับพอเรารู้ว่าเราได้เข้าแน่เราก็กระโดดดีใจกอดกันครับ
Nerve-wracking, as the only thing I could say with probably that last day of groups, just kind of watching it all go down. But they managed to hold it. Oh, good scouting out from Team Liquid. Realizes, maybe we don't want to go that way. Instead, there's still plenty of space that's going to be, I mean, the entirety of the west of the circle is open. And they know that because they just chased down this angle. Looks like they're just trying to make sure. E-Arena, though, not going to be too comfortable staying in this position for too long, so they're probably going to regroup as they're pretty separated with a 2-1-1 split.
Look at that. Orca now tied for the kill lead with Shrimzy for the grand finals here at PGS 9. After that unbelievable start that he had in that last game. Didn't get too much further for Gen G, but you know what? Those points are keeping them very much in the mix here, up to 44. Down to 7th because Na'Vi takes over that 6th place spot with the win, but still got to be feeling okay as Gen G. I don't think you should be too down about that previous game. You say, hey, we took a great fight against 4AM. Yeah, Orca did a ton of stuff, but the team positioning as well behind that fight was really nice.
We talk a lot about points per game, and yes, while Gen G did go out early, thanks, Orca, points per game stayed pretty good.
Exactly. Man, Poro's got him on his fantasy team, and it's just...
it's painful.
It hurts.
It's painful. It's okay, though. Well,
Is
you're always like at the top of the leaderboard, so shush.
I do pretty well usually, yeah.
I always have a similar squad to you, and even though we don't plan it in advance, but my 4th is always not as good as yours, so I end up eating crow.
Tasty, tasty crow. Speaking of birds...
Not as good as chicken dinners.
That's very true. Speaking of birds, it's the Falcons. They might be running into Gen G there, actually, I think, out on the map. But Bagel-Pa? Oh, wow. How does he hit the head there? I mean,
there's only 9,000 bullets out of it. One of them has to finally hit the head, right?
It's just you know, the odds approach there. If you spray enough bullets, eventually one of them's going to connect. And now you got Batu who's taking a position where maybe he could punish Sungjong. Just misses. All
right, Bagel-Pa, while you're... I mean, they still have a con that's not even regrouping. No fear of what's going to happen. This might just be okay, we've just got to write off what we can do, see if maybe we can rescue. Batu, not done. High ground yet again, shifting position, looking, seeing like maybe they've got momentum, making sure that there's no reinforcements. Akana's finally hopped into a vehicle, but I feel like this is a bit too late.
Yeah, the grenades here are going to soften them up a little bit, but not much. I mean, Twisted, the fact that they're committing to this fight, pretty interesting.
Nice throw, though. I like the idea. The Twisted was still being a bit slower. Twisted, though, they've got goals.
They do. Gyuyun's in a really tough spot, though. He needs a bit of a bailout from the rest of his squad.
The rest of the squad is finally getting there. Khan, while it has been a very late rotate, looks like he's going to be wrapping into the north. Gyuyun's going to go down. Lou's taking a lot of damage, so he's going to have to med up. And that's the problem with these open-top areas. If you just throw in enough nades, finally the nade will connect, and it's just fish in a barrel.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's the tough part. When you're in one of those God compounds, it's so tricky to lock down that open building. And even the middle buildings are tough, too, because there's a couple different angles. You know, if you take the I don't know how to say this, the long ends of the buildings, right? Those are where you crash, where exactly Twisted drove into. That makes things really, really difficult to defend those spots. Yeah, but did he?
Maybe. Oh, that headshot's going to make it a lot scarier, but, I mean, it's enough. Quotations on enough for the time being. Delwyn bit isolated, but it doesn't matter. Tanvu going to take the shots. Cowboy goes down. Alcadzia just gets picked there.
Yeah, the Expendables were doing damage to Bagel Paw as well. They were the ones who got involved in that fight to help things out for Twisted Minds a little bit there, so they're all over the place right now with this split. Now Kadzia loses Cowboy. Roth going to go for the chip and the util, it looks like. It's just a matter of, can you get to a spot where you can actually get the resin? Because right now, Clories is camping the best one. And look at Delwyn. This is classic Delwyn.
Charging in. Going to get a bit of the tail end, as it looks like should be able to extricate. Not comfy about it. Roth looks like he does want to wrap. Angle, but nope. Instead, looks like he was just trying to reinforce. Gen G is also pretty close to this point, and yeah, I mean, Alcadzia, I guess it's just regroup and play comfy, but now you're going to have Twisted and Gen G next to you, as well as the Expendables. That's a horrible life to live.
To say the least, Matt. That is not where I'd want to be.
What, you got to deal with Perfectix, Orca, as well as Tanvu all at the same time? Pass, bro. I don't want a part of that.
That sounds pretty horrible, to be honest with you. Phase is up in the air, and they are looking for some landing zones. Hey, the good news here for Phase, by the way, they have some great options, and especially if this circle hard shifts northwest, they're going to have so much free real estate to drop in that's going to be safe. They could even get a vehicle or two, depending on what's been scooped up around Chumacera, but they're just a little bit ahead of this. Just depends on which way this all shifts. DBS not going to be what you want, but you can get, you get the level 3 gear at least.
Boo. Opons thinks it as well, but Opons, we just became friends.
Oh, wow, we're just going south. A little bit further west than what we ended at. You can see where 4 a.m. is. That's about where the last circle ended, and instead, it's going to be a little bit shifted in the other direction towards that hill where we saw that fight between Liquid and Falcons. Faye's still in the plane.
Yeah.
Faye's going to have to make a decision here. There is far west, but then you're going to have to fight your way in.
Well, they're going east, and that feels like maybe not the way to go. I guess they've got this hillside that they want to stop at, but I think that maybe the Expendables were thinking about it as well. So, a couple of shots. They at least make landfall. The other members for the Expendables not quite in position to defend up yet. Duck Juice is rolling over on the buggy. Delwyn, remember this is kind of where that firefight was going on.
Far to really catch much damage there. Gen G rotating in behind this as well. Let's see if they're going to continue their aggressive nature. Look for the third parties. Looks like they're lining up for it. Khan goes down. It's Fairest again.
Na'Vi continues their role. This is what I was talking about. This is where you got to start being a bit afraid. If Na'Vi can start to string together some of these big games, it is going to be brutal on this lobby, and Buriram wants nothing to do with it. This is on the outside of the circle, so we also do have 4 angry men taking shots into the backside of Na'Vi, but Na'Vi pretty comfortable still.
Yeah, I mean, Buriram's going to have for the reses on the backside right now. Khan unresable, more or less. Knocks onto Phase here. Tanvu continuing to be just one of the best on the planet, if not the best. Clory's going to follow up, and Phase has lost 2.
Poor Clories. I mean, it's just Tanvu popping off so hard. This is we know that Clories is a phenomenal player, but hey, sometimes you can overpeak a bit, or, you know, Gen G can just Gen G you from behind, as Tanvu now down is going to open up some moments that FaZe can maybe try to rally from. Gen G is playing this really aggressive with just really having 2 members over here. Flame is really far behind the rest of the squad.
He's got to be ultra careful here as Gen G, not to overstep. Also, Tosi taking some damage from God only knows where.
Pick a squad.
I think it's Alcadzia.
Alcadzia, Twisted. There's a lot going on over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of players looking towards Gen G. They needed to get a little bit more damage done on that fight if they were going to fully commit, and they couldn't. So this might just be a bit of a retreat, a bit of a fight to stay alive here for Tosi. He's going to have to use a lot of smokes to try to escape the Expendables and their sight lines. There's other teams from afar who I saw shooting into this too, so could be a little tricky.
Hey, Gloria's going to get kills now. Tanfu's finally dead. The reason why everybody's fighting around this is this has got some really great high ground, a lot of control in the circle. Downside to it is now there's too many teams that are kind of stacked over here. Even Fase, whenever they made their drop, was getting harassed from VP from the lower section. So the Expendables and Gen G both retreated from the high ground. Fase is still up there, but really can't peek out too much. And Na'Vi, man, they got goals. And that goal is we want Buriram gone.
Yeah, they know they need to clean out their backside because there's a lot of teams that are going to be on the eastern side of this circle. So they need as much breathing room as they can create for themselves. And Ruse is like,
This is kind of an unexpected spot to be at. I mean, he spotted, but oh, did he get spotted too? Oh, yeah, that's wow. There was no world in which he survived there.
Yeah, once they figured out where he was, it was all hands on deck to make sure he was dealt with. Looks like Buriram might be sending players on the outside of all of this to try to escape the Na'Vi encampment. Circle, in the meantime, going to go a little bit southeast. 17 still going to be in on the coast with their spread formation. E-Arena and a 2-2 over on that western side. Them and Liquid might be butting heads again. Forest driving around trying to figure out what's going on. Falcons dive in to this spot to land. They have to fight through maybe Gen G to get in.
But spotted some cars on their landing, and that could be at least something to get them into the zone. But yeah, dealing with Gen G is going to kind of suck. Buriram's making a wrap down to the south, pretty close to 17. That's running a 2-1-1. Up in the north, Al-Khadzia is going to be getting pretty close to the rotating Twisted Mines.
They do
Looks
get
like
the
they're
res
just trying to regroup. Yeah.
They do get the revive. So they've got Cowboy back in the mix. Just got to get him some loot, and they're going to try to set up a forward position, but it's just shut down by example.
Just traded right there. You get one back, and then suddenly Roth goes down. Hey, D, I mean, hey, and also, bye. Bye, Bronco.
Bye, Bronco. Hi, Bronco.
Welcome back. I mean, D's like, I don't really want to do that. Instead, retreats, but here's the problem. Twisted is also playing very north in this. Feels like maybe with that knock, they think that they have authority onto Al-Khadzia, and Al-Khadzia's got to be careful. They might even get backstabbed by where we see Begapa making a rotate.
You could be right. I like this from Twisted, though, knowing that Al-Khadzia is bringing the
It's
revive.
a bait Bronco Batulans.
Yeah,
Nobody's in it.
It's not real. I know. I get it. He's like, wait, where'd that Bronco come from? And
well, I mean, it also did kind of, like, because it came down the hill, it kind of
Exactly.
curved around.
yeah.
Got to be careful
That's
sometimes.
a tough read. That's a tough read. But I like this setup from Twisted. Gatekeep Al-Khadzia, maybe even Bagopod runs into this. It depends on how Bagopod drives. If they go far enough to our left from the viewpoint we're taking here, they should kind of avoid this, actually. The real question is can they get in underneath the Expendables' noses without paying any price?
Across the field right next to Twisted and the Expendables both. You're just kind of playing with fire right now. This is the pathing to make it up into the hill, but this is the cursed hillside where everybody has just been getting punished, and the new contender is going to be Begapa. The Expendables waiting for him to crest the top of that hill, but look at this. Xiong playing this very slow, going to get rewarded for not taking a lot of damage at the start, but now it's starting to open up. Too many sight lines, too many angles. Twisted now starting to get the shots out of Park Pro in retreat as well, but I mean, still alive. And Songjong is still continuing on his merry way. He's headed right into the center of the circle, finally gets his tire popped.
Now you're begging for Songjong to just stay alive somewhere in the middle, because the rest of Bagopod isn't going to be able to get back to him, but he's out on the road. He should be dead, you would think.
I'm kind of shocked. I was going to say, I'm kind of shocked. There's way too many people that have sight lines on that. Somebody's going to get him. And I mean, it was full. Well, Akan, you're right up next to Calories, and not an easy path in. Bark Pro's just going to go ahead and go for a longer rotate. No surprise, Al-Khadzia wants nothing to do with that. Circle still stays on that hillside.
Gen G got a res. They're going to bring Orca back into play. Akan somehow catches Clories out in the open, takes him down, and claims the point and backs the hell out of there. He does not want to continue that fight. He knows he's going to be at a huge disadvantage, so you got what you could out of that situation. Not bad at all. Na'Vi finally making their way out of the blue after a very long gatekeep on towards the Buriram players. You can see Hakatori, no more first aids in the bag, extends, no more first aids in the bag. This is so difficult for Na'Vi unless they can get some kills and scoop up off of the dead bodies in front of them.
And 17 was playing a 2-1-1, and Zhao Wu was very close to that spot. 4 Angry Men making their rotate right next to the Falcons. Falcons did manage to get a couple of members into the safe zone. Actually, multiple members of Falcons just trying to chase after this, don't want to go up the hillside, and I do not blame them. 4 Angry Men now getting shot at by VP, but I think that they found somewhere that they can stop. There's a bit of a dip right there. The other member's going to go ahead and rotate a little bit wider to keep it safe.
Okay. Honestly, for 4 a.m., there are some dips here. There's this shack. This is a really nice spot to be in this circle compared to a lot of others. And there's going to be so much congestion around the outside, and not many teams are going to want to move through. Speaking of moving through, Na'Vi, they're going to have to fight again. They're going to have to fight their way one way or another.
I don't even know if they can really fight. It's just too many angles. Setup catches some air. One already down. Good shots coming up from a combo of everybody. It's going to be 7-7 and Zhao Wu that just ends Na'Vi.
Yeah, it just took too long out on the edges of that circle to really start making any moves. 17, though, has to make a move of their own. And Tiggleton gets the headshot onto Xiao Bei. Should get the flush here. It's taking a little bit of damage, though, from Xiao Wu. Can't confirm.
Yeah, and H1 isn't in a position over here. He's already got a foothold for the squad, so they don't want to stay on this too long. Instead, it was just kind of seeing if maybe they can Falcons up a kill over there. Can't really call it vulturing if you're a Falcon, right? Here's the rotate for Team Liquid right on top of Al-Qadsia, and the woes continue for Al-Qadsia because there are just no options. Sparking does go down, so pretty decent cost, but Team Liquid going to be happy if they can finish this off fast enough to get into the zone.
Yeah, that's tough. Sparking had a P90 there, too, so you're at least going to want to grab that.
What's with the ghost rides, man?
There's been a lot of ghost riding this one. I'm not sure if we've just been kind of going back to the 90s, back when that was a thing. All right, Atungmu does take Olympus down. He has fallen. Now you're looking for some grenade damage from Forest.
They're just kind of slow roll them down the hillside, and Forest does have a knock on their side. Forest, again, kind of being this squad that still has more potential to grow from, and they're in a good position right now. They have E-Arena just to the south. Team Liquid has also bumped into a combination of Twisted as well as Full Sense, and their rotate not going too great after the Al-Qadsia rotate. Team Liquid, I don't even know how you rally off of this. There's no real safety. It's just a firefight up the top, and I mean, Twisted is just so strong in defense right now, and even Full Sense is leaving the circle, eyeing at Thanadol, looking like he's going to try to backstab Luke 12. Luke 12, I don't even know if he expects this coming.
He might not even survive long enough. Twisted Minds player still doing a bit of damage. Perfectix thinking about the grenade. Once goes a bit far, doesn't matter. Catches him on the edge of the smoke, almost gets him down. Luke hanging on.
Just trying to survive at this point. Smoke's going to go ahead, be plumed up right now. Full Sense thinks better of stepping in with the way the new circle is popped. Trying to see if he can get some utility. Luke seeing if maybe he can clutch a point, get something else out of it, but there are so many members of Twisted. If that nade does connect, it could open up something, but there's just nothing he can do outside of that.
Nope, that was really kind of dicey for Team Liquid. I thought maybe if they could get that fight against Al-Qadsia a little bit cleaner, they could use that P90, get up and close and personal into a battle, but still Forest, I think that was a C4, trying to do something to 4AM, but they're really doing a great job navigating this position. Finally, the blue zones are actually going to be the ones that do the lion's share of damage to 4AM.
But still no clean angles. The way that the car fortifications kind of come in, finally steps onto the side that he can take some shots at, but doesn't want to overpeak it too much. Remember, E-Arena is also bumping into 17 back behind this, so that's opened up something for the time being. Fase still on this hillside, having to contend with Twisted. They've kind of shifted down the hill, but remember, Twisted still has to deal with the Expendables, as well as Akan, who's still over here, and Jin Ji.
Look at this battle on the south. Oh man, I was just about to say Falcons just rolled up right behind E-Arena. The Expendables, unbelievable in defense, have really kept the top of this mountain under control for so long against so many different threats. And now Twisted Minds' turn to try to step up and do something. Okay, example, fragging out this game. They need that from him.
Especially on this hillside. This is just so hard to deal with. Duck Juice looks like he was trying to see if he could open up, but at least gets a flush before he goes down. Remember, Akan is still alive in his little hidey hole over here. Here's the firefight to the south. It's going to be Falcons with the high ground, not quite inside the circle. 17 still playing in the lower sections of it, not in the circle either. Opan still alive for E-Arena, as well as having Burram's Damasty over here. Forest keeps playing with 4 angry men, but they also look like they're eyeing, seeing if they could jump into this, and now H1 is going to finally spot out Opans and finish him off.
My concern right now for the Falcons is I don't think they've checked this shanty town that Damasty has rolled up into. I don't think Tiggleton saw him in there. He drove around it, maybe he knows, but that could be kind of an awkward situation for the Falcons if they don't deal with him cleanly, because they could have another fight. Meanwhile, Kiss just smoking. Little Ghost goes down pretty quick, but he's got a little bit of help from above. Not that there's any hope for Lil Ghost, but it's at least. Oh my God, he's rolling in.
Oh, good play coming up from 7-7. They were in a terrible spot, and 17 just fighting uphill every single step. Only Olympus now up for Forest. He was looking at what was going on with 4 Angry Men. The new circle pops. 4 Angry Men comfy inside of it. VP kind of comfy, but now what are you going to do, Xiao Wu? Just get your flushes, step up, as Falcons are going to be chasing after you.
Yeah, the Falcons want to take 17 out of this lobby. That's going to open up a lot of space on the south side for them. Olympus, not really a lot he can do in this, except maybe try to salvage whatever placement points he can. Stuns are out for the Falcons. Kickstart gets the immediate re-knock onto 7-7. Xiao Wu underneath. The first spray, not the best, and he's dealt with.
8 kills now for the Falcons. High ground being big for them. 4 Angry Men actually left the compound that they were holding. Instead goes to play along the edge. Up into the north, it's real dicey. Full Sense has multiple members looking up onto that hillside where Gen G is going to be playing from. VP even sent Nixie over here. We still also have Thex and Jeems alive for Phase that need to get into this zone. But Gen G, can you walk down this? I don't even know. There's going to be like 3 or 4 squads, maybe even 5 looking at you once you try to cross the top of that hill.
Well, I was just wondering if there are any cars left up there for Gen G to use, because that's really their only hope of it.
No, they all roll down the hill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're all ghost rid off of the top of the peaks. But if they don't have cars, then you're absolutely right. This is so tough to get down. And to make matters worse, you've got 2 players of Phase flanked out below the hill that are going to make your life an absolute nightmare if you try to walk down it.
Look at this.
To make what you said even worse, the fact that there's everybody who's going to see this.
Right into Vex, man. This is just... I mean, Gen G had a good position for a while, but they getting out of this is so hard. Tosi just trying to catch some airtime. Kind of steals it, hoping that the tree is going to be enough, but it's not.
There's nothing. There's literally nothing here.
Hey, there's Vex.
You get the point. That's all you can do is beam. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, what do? You've got all of VP just taking pot shots at you. Falcons, I think, were even trying to see if they can get something long range out. Gen G, valiant attempt, but they're going to go down. 4 Angry Men after leaving their shack. Not feeling too good about it, as it's going to be a lot of people taking shots at them. Shin's still going to be pretty close, but Full Sense also took a lot of casualties in their rotate into the circle.
Falcons have a tremendous opportunity here to put themselves on top of the leaderboard. Phase is going to fall. 4 AM going to be the ones to take down Jeems and wipe them out of this. Not a bad game, though, for them. 4 AM continuing to cling to life out here as Flash finds Shen. I say that, and Shen does go down. Full Sense trying to use this rock to get a res. The Falcons barreling in. They want 4 AM now. They are just all over these edges.
Trimsy wants it very, very close. Peeks between, but no, it's going to be a Tongmu. Goes for the flush as well before he goes down. That sends us into our top 4. VP over into the northeast. Falcons down in the center of the south. We still have Buriram Damasi right back waiting to backstab. And it is a scary, scary stuff the way the VP is moving into the north. Falcons need to finish up Damasi really quick. Do take him down, so we are looking at a 3v4 for the winner.
That's a huge win for Tiggleton. He was just telling me in between game 1 and 2 here that he was a little frustrated with how he played that situation in that fight against Team Liquid. Felt like he threw a little bit. Well, that's a great recovery for him. 4 kills, able to take down the player that could have really ruined their chances in this. Now, it's still going to be hard. VP still has a ton of advantages over Falcons. They've got the numbers, they've got the position, but Falcons could recover. They have played this so well, and they find themselves on top of the leaderboard here for PGS9.
Luca Rux seeing if he can find defensive counter angles to deal with the high ground that the Falcons have to work with. Numbers advantage favoring Virtus Pro, but middle of the pack in the thick. Finding kills here and a victory could be big to get some breakaway points for VP. Opposite side of that, like you're talking about, breathing room away from Twisted. Falcons want as much of this as they can get, but losing Shrimsy in that push down going for 4 Angry Men could be costly.
No, that was really, really pivotal in terms of how the end game is going to shape up. They do spot Corexi. They're able to combine some fire in his direction, but only get about half damage. So that's not exactly what you wanted there. Had you found the knock, you know, VP's so spread out, they would have had to commit resources towards getting that res, and that would have opened up some space for the Falcons to make a maneuver, try to maybe overstack a flank. Instead now, you know, you're relinquishing zone control to VP a bit. They're going to be able to maintain these crossfires.
Remember, this is only phase number 7 as well, so we're probably seeing this slow down just a bit until we get the new circle and how it lines up. All the Falcon members are stacked on top of each other. Lucarux has managed to get very close to the circle. Not quite yet in it, him and Corexi, but there's a couple of dips that they can continue to play on the hillside. But it's a little dicey on that angle. Lucarux not feeling too comfortable with it. Corexi's going to go ahead and regroup next to Beamy and Nixie as well. So this is just kind of attrition fighting right now, trying to burn off armor, helmets, meds, anything that they can get. Lucarux, yeah, again, no surprise, not the best position to be playing over there, so just regrouping, and we've got Wolfpack versus Wolfpack right now. Well, actually, I say that, Lucarux does extend a bit further in to get this hill to work with.
Yeah, absolutely the right move here for VP to get Lucarux.
And loot. So much loot here.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead bodies from, 4 AM fights of old that they're going to be able to claim. A nice headshot found, but still hasn't really opened up much space. Now you can set up this 1-3, so the 3 players behind can cover for Lucarux, keep him in a position that when the Falcons has to make a move, he can be there for the frags. They've got 7 still left for VP, and he's going to be the guy that you want to have in that spot. Beamy with 2. Would love to maybe get him a little bit further forward, but for now, you can just hold the Falcons down this ridge line. They're going to have to commit a ton of smokes. The good news for Falcons is they do have a ton of smokes, so they can at least make a go at getting down this hill, trying to use this ridge line around the left side to cut off as much opportunity, and that's a big knock for Tiggleton.
Nixie going down of anybody. There is time to go for the res, but you can see instantly spins back into the vehicles. They're trying to shift down the hill. They know it's a problem. They've got to exploit this as fast as possible. Numbers advantage be damned. Jumps out, does manage to at least get to the hill. This is going to be right along the zone, and they have a couple of better pathing options to deal with what we can see. Counterbalancing that, Lucarux instantly reads it. He shifts to the other side of the circle to see if he can continue to hold a crossfire angle, but he has been spotted.
Oh, Corexi hit a nice grenade on a kickstart right as he was lining up to go for the spray. That threw him off just enough that you really can't punish Lucarux there. So VP continuing to play nicely despite some good shooting from the Falcons.
Oh, Corexi does a good follow-up to the rotate from Lucarux, who's now got the high ground. Good play coming up from VP, reading the terrain well, and now Falcons are trapped. 3 members chasing after the Falcons in the low ground, and Lucarux up on the high ground, punishing everything. Hwin, the last one up, and VP takes it clean.
Yeah, a nice fight there at the end. VP really holding on despite some okay shots from the Falcons that got some knocks, but that wasn't enough. VP had such firm control of that end game.
I respect the Falcons for trying to make the pounced move as they did whenever they got the knock onto Nixie. The angle and side of the hill that they were playing for him was not good. And
no.
Just beautiful coming up from VP, knowing the train on that one, and Lucarux trying to make sure that he gets into position to deny any movement for them.
Yeah, the way they thought about that endgame was phenomenal. Fantastic.
So crazy to see the way that sets up, and a big, big game for VP.
Well, EMEA doing all right. Virtus Pro here, middle of the table, trying for that fight back, considering that those top 2 teams are still looking very troublesome indeed here. Miramar concludes, Virtus Pro gets the win. Joining me, Topsies, is an Avenger to talk about this one. Avenger, it's EMEA again.
It is. Falcons did get a second place here. They did put themselves on top of the leaderboard. And I will say this, though, guys.
Yes.
2 very similar circles.
True.
Didn't benefit any of the teams other than the teams that are close. E-Arena should have had better game in this one here. I was hoping to see them kind of step up a little bit.
Yes.
VP, man, getting this compound, taking space on the northwestern side, locking down all other teams, making sure they're 4 guy alive. And that has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Almost with the Nixie knock, though. They tried to make a move, but yeah.
A good knock.
As we saw yesterday, not enough time and not enough utility to lock things out.
Yeah, Tiggleton just walked past. He gave us a little shrug after I said a good knock, but, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, they're still dominating the leaderboard, right? So it's like, we didn't win that one, but we're still going to be at the top of this.
Number 1, by the way. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, Twisted Minds was getting a lot of kills during this game, but then Falcons was like, hold my beer. That was very impressive to see them being able to wrestle away that number 1. We'll take a look at the leaderboards a little later, but another strong finish for Falcons. Second place here for this. past. Yes, they were a man down. It was always going to be hard to round out that fight.
I mean, they feel comfortable. They're playing well. They were half of their team was in the gym an hour and a half before they came in, so clearly they're sort of like
sweating,
just comfortably running their routine. They're not feeling the pressure, and it's showing. I think the same thing goes for Twisted Minds when you see them walking around. It's like EWC has just sort of lifted this weight off the shoulders, and they're just happier and more go-lucky than I've seen him in a while.
Also, Shrimps is such an impact player, right? If you don't have him towards those late games, right? It's often. I have to look into that. How often do Falcons win the game when Shrimps is dead compared to when he's alive?
Don't get the stat wrong. He'll call you out on X hard. But it is true. I think that's the evolution of the team. Shrimsy has sort of really evolved as the go-getter, and I think Tiggleton has even said, I've kind of become like the bait. I charge in,
baiter.
I take the hits.
Yeah, he called himself baiter.
Exactly, but I like that they're, as a team, willing to sort of pass that around.
It will be 12 going in the way of the Falcons here. Despite Virtus.pro getting the victory, they had that compound for a long time. It was always going to be a smaller chicken dinner for them. I do want to say, Martin, and comparing them to our previous game where Na'Vi gets the win, Virtus.pro is also a team now where it's every single component is a complete part of the team.
It is. But also from that compound, when everyone was fighting up on that high ground, Gen G, Fase, everyone was fighting like it doesn't really matter. Correction, though, he gets the vast majority of this.
Man of the match.
Man of the match.
Man of the match.
Still not an insane amount of damage due to the fact they just sort of got to hold that spot. They won the ones you're supposed to. But again, if the last game was the story of, oh my goodness, it's top 4 that weren't in the top of the leaderboard, this is exactly the opposite, with the exception of VP. Now, coming out of group stages, I expected them to start stronger yesterday. They've looked good. It seems like the team has invested in these guys, has put them through some boot camps to make sure that they're ready. I was surprised to see yesterday. I'm not surprised to see them come out and get a chicken dinner in their first 2. I expect them to keep grinding it out today.
Definitely a team that we have to keep our eye on if they can start moving up these leaderboards, right? Because, of course, this will put them in a much better spot. But the glory is taken by Falcons when it comes to the numbers. Good old Tiggletons here, Martin. Good old Tiggletons.
Yeah, it's obviously great to see him up there with the damage done. Good to see Perfecti still in there. But then again, with how everyone in the north, they had to kind of move that off that rock. Everyone realized, all right, let's just try to get as many kills as we can. And there's not going to be too much for VP to come in that. But 18 points total for them, though, here, James. It's going to be plenty to stat pad.
The hilarious thing is when you look at this as well, I'll just deviate here for a second. It's so funny when you see online sometimes people are like, guys, I think that Tiggleton guy's really overrated. You see that sometimes online. You're just like, are you guys high? Like, it's a ridiculous notion when he's able to consistently come out with a team like Falcons and do these kinds of things.
My favorite analogy for Tiggleton is either you focus on getting big muscles, or getting championships, right? And right now, he's very focused on those championships.
Really, both.
Falcons number 1, 84 points for them so far after 8 games down. There are 10 remaining. I thought Twisted Minds was going to be blasting throughout this game, and indeed they did get a lot of kills here, Toffees. However, it didn't matter because Falcons was like, well, we'll top that quite easily.
It's like they're watching the kill feed and being like, oh, I guess we got to go take another fight now. Because it really did look like you'd see Twisted get this big fight, then Falcons would, all right, we're pushing this team, we'll go for a third party. I really genuinely think they're looking at each other in that context, knowing it's a true race between these two teams.
And beyond that, it's so close.
It's extremely close. Like 16 points from 3rd down to 9th. Guys, it's like thousands of, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of PTS points that makes the difference here if you're 3rd or if you're 9th. And one good game for any of the teams here in the mid pack, that'd be huge. For the other teams chasing, though, if you have 39 expendables, one good game can still put you in there. But still, you've got to get things rolling as you get to Gert Curry.
That's absolutely right, of course. I mean, for Angry Men being where they are is a big surprise to me so far. But what a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
Consider 3rd place right now with this roster. I think they've looked good so far.
I mean, absolutely. Again, it's always in GPTs. Our best interest to see a GPT team step up and play well. Seeing Gen G and 4AM improve, it has been exciting.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time for a break. When we return, we have got the wild card maps on the way here for day number 2 of PGS 9. Let's go.
got to make the best of what you can with shotguns and SMGs at close range.
Heaven in a beautiful position.
It's going to give Mir the chance to push up the Shrimsy. Stepping up as well. Vixen's caught on.
Julian Drayton gets the headshot. Tiggleton repeats at Shrimsy.
First team to claim the championship 3 times in a row.
Really impactful. A couple grenades side of here. They lose a player, but it doesn't matter.
PGC champions, the Expendables.
别人铲血，
火，这个火真的太好了！
哇，
就抽一个。
又来，哎呦！
피하면서 이거는 뭐 자 같이 가자. 이집을 이제 안 돼요.
Aggressiveness, poor control. Overlooking over onto that stone as well, and view. Successful BWD making mad dash for it. He goes.
They're moving towards the middle, just onto the controller. They don't take that level, and he's going to have to get it back on because Nader's good.
Oh, the Panzerfeld from Halo. Hurt back behind.
Will make their crossing. Tifa gets a great knock, actually.
Miramar has been great for EU, picking up both the wins so far, but also Falcons making it to the later stages. This is getting pretty interesting when we're looking at the top of the leaderboard as well as the middle of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 2 teams that really need to come out the gates with some big points, some big wins, and they get it. Na'Vi and VP both now starting to make their climb, make their rise onto day 2, just like you'd like to see. Falcons, just a tremendous kill game there. Awesome opportunities that they found for those third parties. A huge win by Tiggleton on the backside against Damasty that could have made that endgame fight much more difficult, if not even more impossible.
Well, Damasty's position actually did slow down the Falcons and opted them into a Western rotate on that hill, which was exploited by the low ground positioning from VP. And it was interesting because whenever we saw the Lucarux rotate, he went to the eastern side of the hill that Damasty was on earlier, and we saw Falcons have to run away from. But enough of the past. It's time to look to the future. New map time. Tego.
That's right. As we look at the terminal, the bus terminal there, is the lights not working so good because, you know, the island, or, well, the peninsula, technically? Well, there is a river. I guess it is an island, now that I look at the way east coast. But anyway, regardless, it's abandoned. Humanity has left it except for PUBG players.
Yeah, I guess it's an awkward peninsula with mountains right next to it. I mean, who would want to live over there? There's not even a road that leads, right?
Me.
Oh, well, I mean, but I guess the internet would be good enough for you, right?
Hey, yeah, exactly. If it's in Korea, we're good to go.
Imagine being on a mountain peninsula, isolated, that also has an island right next to it. Bro, if you're living in Wolsong, you got some choices you have made in your life where you do not want to be near anyone.
That's correct. And that would be fantastic. just get me out into nature. I want to enjoy some nice tea with a good view.
That's how I grew up, was in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And I was like, nah. Nearest convenience store was 25 minutes away from my house. Now,
yeah.
It's all fine and good, but...
More as like a getaway. I'll put it that way.
Give me a fast food place, please.
Yeah, I live in Seoul now, and I love the city. So actually, I'm
okay. See, that makes sense why you want to get away.
Just every once in a while, not all the time. Just, you know, maybe like a couple weeks out of the year. Get me into something nice. Speaking of getting into,
I can respect that.
Yeah. Getting into something nice. Hopefully, 17 and some of the other teams that have still struggled a bit can get themselves into something nice. But yeah, Na'Vi, VP, going to be looking pretty nice on the western edge of this circle to start this game. Our 2-game winners, but everything's so southern oriented. A lot of teams going to be fighting to get in from that north. Buriram, Forest, Team Liquid, Genji, Al-Qadsia, Falcons, all going to be kind of figuring things out.
Meanwhile, Fase, center of the circle, Books and Saw doing them very well. So they should have early rotate options, except for really Little Ghost for 17. You were talking about that this is a squad that definitely needs to find something going on. They've already sent one of their members pretty far towards the center in Little Ghost, so I guess that's kind of the plan. Full sense. They've got themselves lined up kind of close to Na'Vi, but not really. It's more just kind of a separated looting situation going on with them. 4 Angry Men back over into the east is pretty open, but also did send Shin very far into the west. So a couple of solos hanging out pretty close to Fase.
Yeah, so this seems to be the early game MO for the Chinese teams when they've got a nice center circle, when they've got some options available. This is pretty typical for 17 for sure. Lil Ghost is often, especially on Erangel and Tego, out on his own, trying to scout out for the rest of 17 to get into some of those early game central positions that they can lock down and hopefully rack in some big points. Obviously, Al-Qadsia dropped for vehicles first, then drove over here to Palace. And they are uncontested for it in these grand finals. Saw them squaring off a little bit, but against JDG. But let's listen to the interview from Ferris, see what Na'Vi has to say about their win.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm here with Ferris from Na'Vi. So for the first mirror game, you get 14 eliminations for teams, and you personally got 6. And we saw also very good use grenades and mortars. And after looking at the data, we saw that you actually doubled the score from yesterday. So what has changed from yesterday?
Ви дуже гарно стартували. У вас, не дивлячись на другу гру, перша була дуже вдала. Ви зробили класні муви, класні гранати. І вже подвоїли ваші поінти порівняно з вчорашнім днем. Підкажи, будь ласка, що змінилося порівняно зі вчорашнім перформансом?
Ну, ми вчора сіли, проаналізували наші помилки. Сьогодні зібралися просто з думками, настроїлись ментально і тому показали такий хороший перформанс.
So we did analyze our mistakes from yesterday. We did some mental preparations and show pretty good performance from the first game, and we will try to continue this.
Very interesting mental preparations, and good luck on the next game.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
Oh, I like that. Well done.
I didn't even notice the bounce on that nade that went through the Bronco.
Yeah.
Oh, that was sick.
That was nasty, but plus 5 points to you for the.
I mean, nobody's beating Toffee.
The Snow White reference.
The whale.
I don't know. I think yours might be a little better.
No, mine's worse in a different way. He was the best part about Toffees was watching James's face, watching Kalaris whenever that joke happened. I can't top that.
That's true. If you can make Kalaris suffer, you've already won the day.
Well, at least you've won Paper Thin's heart.
That's true. That's all I live for anymore.
Oh, you guys, it's a good thing you can't hear the green room banter that happens. Okay, so rotates up into the north. Burram already going. They've got Falcons that's running 2-2 split just to their south. They might bump into them, might not. Forest, who hung out around the trees around Army Base, they've got to rotate next to Team Liquid. Gen G and Al Qadzia pretty close to each other near that western bridge around the fishing camp. Orca's going to spot out D. Orca not getting the kill yet, but I don't know. It's Orca. He's going to get it sooner or later. I never counted out. Oh, no, here's another one. Maybe he'll get this one. No, it's going to be Roth that finally takes down the beast.
Just barely, though. Orca did hit the headshot onto Roth, and that is not a great start for Gen G, who's looking to get aggressive early again. I mean, their game plan here today, if they're outside of the first circle, is just go for the fights. I mean, it kind of makes sense with the reses in play as well. You know, you can revive.
Look at this, though.
Even if you lose a player, man.
They stopped off with Roth, and Cowboy's still over here as well. There's a chance that Gen G might want to go for the blue chip, and it feels like maybe this is a counter push back. As Flame is wrapping down really far to the south around, Kiss is bumped into Team Liquid's Alo. Alo took the worst end of that, but Sparking's got some plans. He's just going to jump around. Doesn't spot out what he wants. Does finally connect in after he makes contact with the car.
Yeah, kind of curious about Al Qadzia there. I thought maybe they might go for the blue chip denial by blowing it up. Luke 12 has a Panzerfaust Baron in the earliest BRDM I think I've ever seen in my life.
And he didn't even steal this one. And so, I mean, he's just going to run for it for a time being. It doesn't look like Team Liquid is too big on sending after a BRDM at this stage.
No, you're just hoping that he drove into that Panzer. That's really your only option there. If he doesn't do that, then should be maybe a change in ideas. But he actually drives at Sparking. Sparking trying to get the hell out of there.
Remember the fact that Sparking was still kind of caught up on that car because of how it crashed. So Sparking going to get away, but oh, wow, Luke 12. And the wraparound does get the knock onto Baron. That means that Forest, if they want to keep this BRDM, has to go after it. Does Team Liquid feel feisty? Can they steal from the Thieves as Olympus spots out Alo, gets a knock onto him, and that's going to be an easy pickup. I don't think that Team Liquid can get over there in time to support.
Dude, that is...
Sparking gets it.
That's true. That is ridiculous. That is a 150-meter Dragunov kill there for Olympus on a guy who likes to Dragunov himself in Alo. Holy cow, that is horrific for Team Liquid. I don't know if they know Scappy's right next to Luke 12 either.
No shock on that. Use the BRDM to block out, try to see if you can get the blue chip. So, I mean, Luke 12 did wrap over here a second ago and got the knock, so they should know that Luke's over here, but I don't think that they're expecting him to play this aggressive. Olympus doesn't have a good angle, so seeing if maybe the Hail Mary nade can get the bounce. Is it going to roll the right way? Almost gets the flush, and following! Sparking just runs them both over!
I love it. Sparking's like, I know exactly where you are. And that grenade almost did the job, but it's Sparking who just slams on in there. Now Kurt driving down Olympus, going for the M4 spray. Runs out of bullets. Not going to get it just yet.
Imagine running over two members with the BRDM that you stole from them. Disrespect.
But I respect it.
I love it. I mean, that's what PUBG's about.
I was kind of hoping Kurt would switch to the Panzer and just go for the most insane Panzer shot. Like driving, just try to get it, but...
And see, look, it's lucky that they didn't take the Panzerfaust shot earlier.
Now you should at least be able to get the res here as well. So the revive available.
Al Qadzia apparently didn't sit for it,
Yeah, I think it was just a little too hot. Gen G was just a little too close for comfort, so couldn't quite go for the denial play.
Well, Al Qadzia actually did go to the other side of the bridge and is kind of waiting over there inside the zone. I think that Flame might have spotted it, though. I don't know specifically, as Orca is already coming in and should be able to make landfall and should be able to also get his loot. Qadzia, do you want to stay for this, or are you just kind of here? Just got to refuel.
They're also doing a little bit of scouting of Palace for loot to get Orca back into play. Kickstart has the BRDM too, so a couple early vehicle pickups for some of these teams to look to scale into the late game and try to do some serious damage.
You know, I was talking to a couple of players that say that while the BRDM has a lot of strengths to it, and it's BRDM, right? One of the more interesting things with it is it kind of sucks to scout with because people have learned to not really take too many shots at what's going on with the BRDM. And, I mean, good luck on getting those reses. I just completely denies it. But that's kind of one of the things you want with the vehicles, right, is you kind of roam around, see who takes shots at you. But now it's gotten to the point in the meta, people just don't even take the shots. So while you're nice and defended, you don't get the information that you could get out of a weaker vehicle.
Yeah, it's such a rock, paper, scissors with the BRDM, right? If someone has a Panzer, you're in trouble. If you give them the angle, they're going to take you down. If they don't, then the only other really good recourse they have is that they have all their guns on you quickly and they can just shred it, right? Like they have an M249 and a barrel or something like that, and then they can just shred it. But if they don't, if they're spread out and they don't have the ability to put good damage quickly into the BRDM, then absolutely you're not going to want to shoot at it. You just want to ignore it as much as you can.
The Expendables roll right into Fairest, and that's going to be all she wrote for one of them. Duck Juice already down, but Glorious staying committed in. Tanvu's still seeing if he can get an angle. Akatori does spot. Expect the Expendables to leave. I haven't seen that in their history happen too often. You know that instead they're planning something. These guys are conniving and, again, will exploit any opportunity that's presented. Even something that shows up as like losing a member. Okay, fine. How do we backstab on you? How do we use that to our advantage? And that's how they manage to get their PGC win.
Yeah, they're so crafty. They're just incredibly aware of like the thought processes of most teams and how they can exploit that sort of, this is the safe play, right? Like we want to fall back or do this, and then they're just right there to pounce and, you know, capitalize on your movement. It's just such a fun team to watch. Now this game not going so good for them, but they are at least going to be in the game for now. Bagel Pot has rolled up to the southern side of Buksan Sa, and they are looking to see if the Expendables had gone over here. They heard that fighting earlier, and they're looking to see if they can get some freebies out of this.
So, really weird thing that's going on way up to the north. Genji still hasn't moved over from the island. Remember how they kind of regrouped over there? I don't know why, but Olympus is now over there as well. Palace has got Olympus and Genji in it, and it's nowhere near the safe zone.
Olympus wants to go for the revive.
But they were all blown up. They were all blown up. That's why I'm confused. Why is he even over here for the... I don't know. My brain hurts. Yeah, see, this is the weird thing that we have happening is, I guess maybe he was coming over here for safety, but there is no safety around Orca.
He must have just been going for a wide wrap and got caught. That's the best I can come up with here.
I don't even think that I've seen them shoot at each other, though.
Then I don't know.
But, okay, Genji is playing like they expect somebody over here, so they had to at least have spotted him and taken some shots.
For sure. I mean, you would have to assume that they heard this. So this is kind of weird. No matter how you cut this, Genji, though, going to have to eat through quite a bit of blue just to wait this out. And it seems like they're content to do so. The real question is Olympus still also going to go for more loot? I mean, I think he's just trying to slurp up as much first aid stuff as he can to try to outlast the blue as long as he can.
Okay, well, New Circle, full sense, and there are tons of crates around them, feeling pretty good, as well as Al-Qadsia. Team Liquid has an easy path in. 17, pretty close to the recall. Oh, Tosi.
With the timing.
Tosi has spotted somebody.
He had him dead to rights, but he was jiggle peeking.
Twisted and 17 are also very close to each other, so a couple of fights brewing. Is also Begapa making a wrap, while Irina's going on, 4 Angry Men making a long wrap. Olympus, greed could be your downfall if you are not careful here. Already down to pretty low on life. He needs to med up before he rounds. There's a path in front of him, but Tosi waiting to make sure it is denied. Waiting for the meds. There you go. So Tosi, are the meds going to be enough? And no, they are not. Genji picks up another early one.
Yeah, tough road for Forest Gaming in this one. Falcons, oh my god, that's so many Panzers. For a second there, I thought that was going to be maybe a Phase vehicle that rolled in, but it's actually Kickstart just driving around, trying to bait out a reaction from Phase. It feels like, whereas the Falcons are so ready for whatever happens. If they're able to get the spot onto Gustav, they could light him up with the Panzers. If FaZe drives into this, they can light him up with the Panzers. They are primed to just ruin this round.
Yeah, I mean, poor Gustav right now. Nobody on FaZe is like, oh, okay, well, we'll provide some long-range support, but not really. That's just done. I mean, he held the Vector on the lower side of it, so good job on Falcons actually playing the upper section approach.
I'm a bit surprised that Gustav didn't react to the sound cues there. Not sure what was going on. They're at least going to pop a tire as a little bit of revenge, but that's not much. Fase gonna have to group up just the one US. It seems like no. Okay, James must have another vehicle back behind him there, or they're just thinking about using him as the anchor. Purdy Curdy gets up on top of the awnings, wants to see what's going on, but Alcatraz got him dead. He's just done.
Yeah, that's the easiest shots you're ever going to take if you're Rello. This is now Team Liquid knows who the opponent next to them is, but if they regroup more to the east of this position, that's going to be the route that Twisted is taking. So Sparking, how bold do you want to play around that? Is there could be a new set of problems if Team Liquid doesn't regroup fast enough.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned for Liquid. That's just
4 Angry Men's wrap actually coming up right back behind VP's Beamy as well. So that's going to be a couple of shots coming out from Beamy onto Shin to finish him out. 4 Angry Men probably not going to continue that path, but doesn't feel good. Oh, a Tongmu! VP feeling themselves after that last game.
Yeah, they've got such a spread formation here. And like you were saying, 4AM's trying to find their way out. They can't. Those are nasty shots from Ukarux with the mini. Just every angle they tried to find to break through, there was a Virtus Pro player there. And look at that. They're hiding the pony behind that little hill line. 4AM maybe going to be able to get a res. Phase 4 circle about to pop. Where?
Phase, that's not the rotate you probably want to make. Too close to actually 17 as Burram's going to be to the south. You just got to continue going on. New circle pops also doesn't feel too good. Vex has been left behind to maybe defend up, but it's not going to matter. 7-7 on the high ground. Going to take down James. Quick flush to follow.
Well, and now Vard from bad to worse here for Phase. One more bullet should do the job onto him. US cannot be good, and it's actually Nurens from E Arena. He's going to connect with the AUG spray from afar. And Phase hemorrhaging players at a prodigious rate, and Vex trying to find a way.
Welsh Warrior the last one up, and do you backstab onto 17? Do you let him cut a path for you? This is not a lot of good options, but he's playing it a bit more aggressive. Remember, this is outside the safe zone, so Raps could be happening. Falcons look like they're eyeing more into the north, with 17 having this more wide split. Could be its own issue. Vex does come alive, take shots, doesn't get what he wants out of it. 7-7 again, being catastrophe for Phase.
Oh man, if that had gone a little bit worse for 17. Oh, it's going bad. Hakatori just got a knock. Here comes the Falcons all in the armored vehicle. They've got a Lynx too for H-Win. This is a great opportunity, and they're connecting.
That's just an instant pop out, goes for the punch onto it, but if they all jump back in, Zhao Wu has a present. Kickstart roaming around, seeing if he can bait out the shots, but Hakatori takes the shots onto Zhao Wu. That opens it up for Kickstart. He just runs in, and 17 is gone.
What fantastic timing again from the Falcons, dude. They are absolutely so in tune with each other right now, and their decision-making completely on point. That was so well thought out. Obviously, it helps you get a little bit of long-range shooting from Akatori, but man, oh man, they executed that flawlessly.
Big fight going on. Alcazia's taking the shots into Twisted, forcing them into the east. And remember who's in the east. It's the BRDM Falcons. Not quite close enough to really get vision, take the shots, but now Twisted going to go ahead crest hillside. Falcons do start to see this. Na'Vi realize the vulnerabilities. Hey, you know what's better than 1 C4? How about 2? Let's roll them right in, and you know that full sense positioning that's been feeling pretty good for a while, it's about to feel pretty bad. The only benefit to it is full sense is pretty separated, so the explosion's gonna go off and not get much.
Here goes the rest of Na'Vi. They're slamming in. Flash trying to stay alive. Belmoth trying to bail him out, but the corner peek here, not in time for Zosed. He gets shut down by Belmoth. So far, so good for full sense. Hakatori extends, trying to extend their life in this game.
Oh, Glories.
Oh, the gas can just to buy some space.
Glories is coming up back behind this one. Where is he going to opt into going? Na'Vi in a lot of trouble. Full sense firmly regrouping. Extends has got to be careful as now more throwables on the outside of the wall. Not quite connecting. He gets a peek around. Tigger's taking some damage. Can't quite get it. Finally spots out. Na'Vi does go down. But here's the new circle right on the edge of it. going to be stacked up on top of each other and throwing back between the two, not really connecting the way either squad wants to. We got to keep an eye on what's going on with E-Arena as well as Shrimzy, Burram wrapping in. This is just a mess for very little cover to work with afterwards. What is happening with the team of Liquid? They're just falling apart due to Begapa over here.
Yeah, hard to say. There's so much fighting going on right now. Shrimzy's still alive for the Falcons. He's the only one. Time to play a little bit of salvage. The bad news is there's just too many teams in your way. Maybe hoping that the remnants of Buriram are going to be able to do some damage here to E-Arena. God, that's fast, Shrimzy. No way.
Almost got it. It was scary for E-Arena. There's a big break point after Twisted down to E-Arena, but Twisted still being alive has an opportunity they have to stay alive for. Jinji's Bean rested Jinji, who's been kind of eating blue for a long time, finally finding safe zones, but I mean, Lukaruk spots him out, and gosh, VP just taking so much control over this circle already.
Yeah, they have found fantastic sight lines from their high ground, and that Panzer right into the driver's side window.
Barely lived.
Yeah, he's just far enough away from where that Panzer hit that he survived, but didn't last for too much longer. Twisted's like, enough of this crap. Let's try to find our way forward. They're still not in the circle in that position. Here goes Buriram. They're sending 3.
I mean, just send it in. It's a very weakened E-Arena, but Opans doesn't like anything that's going on over here. He's going to go ahead and hop in the vehicle. Actually stops, trying to use the hillside. Buriram just kind of wrapping through, see whatever they can find over here, knowing that this is a pretty open circle, trying to see if maybe they can get their loot back up, but the other sections of E-Arena waiting to pounce. Thanadol also hearing this. Remember, he's been hanging out for a while, kind of being a foothold position for Full Sense. He's got to be careful that he doesn't go down, though, as Opans does spot him, but the distraction is enough for Buriram to backstab. Opans spins it back around, and now Buriram in trouble as well.
Edie trying to do something, and he will knock out E-Arena, but not before Opans goes absolutely crazy again, this time with the guns. Gyuyun has set up a fort around the outskirts of this northwest side. He's got Genji, he's got Twisted, he's got Lukarux, all in the vicinity. He's been doing some damage. Bagelpaw has found 4 kills for themselves in this game, but how is he still alive? Those grenades not going to finish him off. The first aid able to come through. Oh no, he's done.
I mean, one from one side doesn't connect, but now both squads, or I guess both duos, eyeing how they want to handle a full control coming out from Full Sense and VP both, and this is a open circle. We've got a crossroads really being about it. This point that we're looking at is not even in the safe zone. It's the hills that are going to be to the south of that. Twisted doesn't want to run in just quite yet. Just 3-point differential between them and the Falcons, and Burr looks like they're just going to walk up and present some beats, though. Follow-up from Jinji. Do take down Batulins. This is going to have to be dicey. 89-89, and Lou runs for safety as Jinji goes on the hunt.
Tough spot to be in there as Twisted. They had to deal with Burram in the back, but Lou gets one. Tosi immediately prone, but it's actually a little bit of help. It's Lukarux who is doing great things for Virtus Pro up on point. Orca, that grenade just went a bit too far. It's just a matter if Genji's going to be offered the opportunity. No, it's going to be the finish. Tosi's still alive, but Lukarux is going to commit every last frag he has. He doesn't get the finish.
VP has stepped away from the western hold. They've sent Beanie over next to Belmont. Full Sense can't find the angles to really get into this circle. Tosi still being a distraction back behind all of this, but VP looks like they're trying to line up another victory for themselves. Tosi with so few options, and Full Sense denying the other angle. Really, the only thing about it, though, is Full Sense being distracted by this, wanting to go for the kill points on it, has a potential of causing a problem. But if Belmont can hit shots like that, who cares?
Yeah, and he's just found the timing there on Abimi, who had no idea that Belmoth had gotten behind him. So he should just be dead to rights. VP gonna have to sacrifice that player. There's no hope. Just gotta lock down your fortified positions. Tosi out of this next zone, gonna have to find a way through, but immediately gets lit up by the links from Flash. Shut down. Lucarux trying to respond, trying to do some damage. He has been so active this game. I love the way he's just bouncing around from position to position, getting info, doing damage, finding points. He has been so impactful for Virtus Pro, not just in this game, but in the one previous as well.
Yeah, this is a highly mobile, highly efficient VP. They're exploiting the map knowledge that they're exploiting time and time again to get into these positions, to get these wide crossfire angles, is absolutely immaculate. This kind of firm separation where they've got Correxy up on top of the building, Nixie playing lower, and even after losing the member that scouted over into the east, Lucarux is playing a bit further away from the squad, down into the south, to see if they can make sure to deny too much control from Full Sense.
This is now just Phase 7.
Yeah.
We're just getting to Phase 7. That's how wild this game has been. This is a huge pickup. Crates coming onto the VP side in the late game could be an absolute difference maker. Doesn't go for the MG3. I don't know, man. I saw what Alcadzia was doing with that thing the other day. Might be worth. Some players really love that gun. I hate it. So I totally respect Nixie's decision. Plus, maybe just feels like with the 5.56 kit that he doesn't really want to try to switch over, maybe leave it there for somebody else, or just, play it out as is.
Flash has been using this hillside to see if he can get something onto VP, but VP has been smartly playing these lower sets in the hill, peeking off and on again, not overextending too much. So Tigger, with the foothold in the circle, has Flash just to the north of him. Belmoth was the one that was playing in the east. Whenever Belmoth comes in, he has to be very cautious of Lucarux, who's just dancing right along the edge of the zone. Flash not finding the knock, but the big thing is Flash has got to make that links work. Full Sense is playing with very little control over the circle, but that's also just kind of due to the lay of the land in this circle, because you can see moving down that hillside, it opens up a lot, and it's VP that are playing these little dips and crevices that are easily capable of exploiting any movement from Full Sense.
Yeah, you're looking for the over peak there, but you can see some of the pings here from Full Sense trying to figure out a way into this next zone. Flash laying out what he wants to do, pinging out where at least they know one of the players of VP is. I think that's Lucarux they've got a beat on, but I did see that Nixie did end up going for that MG3, so he's going to have that machine gun. You get on the ground, you prone with that thing, it's a laser beam. Even just standing up, these pros are good enough that they can make it work just fine, as they're happy to kind of take this easy for now. Again, like you said, Flash with the links, 2 bullets left, has to look for that opportune moment to get a VP player that maybe goes for too aggressive of a peak, or just who knows, maybe gets lucky with the timing. A couple different ways this could shake out. Both teams happy to wait this out for the next phase.
VP has just been massive. 9 kills after the last game, charging up the leaderboard. The performance today has been spectacular. Full Sense, they need something to rally around, and this is it's a downhill battle, but it's an uphill battle for the leaderboard, and they are the ones that are going to have to hit their shots and open up some type of opportunity for themselves, because it feels like VP has got a lot of control angles that they're playing from that Flash just, he can't see what he needs to see to get it. I do like kind of how Tigger is being a bit sneaky over there. He's got himself some boxes that he's playing around. I don't think that they know where everyone is, but they do know that VP is very prone to edge wraps and playing off control angles. So I like the fact that they're at least keeping an eye on it as the new circle has popped, and not really favoring anybody right now. This is about the best that either squad could want.
Belmoth does have a car, and he has a few smokes. So if he needs to make a move, he's going to need to make a move. Who am I kidding? He's outside the next circle, but he does have some options available to him to maybe make it a little bit safer. Now, that being said, with an MG3 potentially barreling down on top of you, that adds some uncertainty to that safety equation. So smokes are coming out now. Lucarux as well on his left, something he has to consider, but Belmoth going to be making a move in VP. You could see a couple of those players really looking in towards that direction, knowing that somebody from Full Sense is outside of the next circle.
While we've got the map up, look at Lucarux's position, look at Belmont's position. This will be the catalyst, as these two have to keep getting closer and closer, so that way they can keep some level of crossfire angle for the rest of their squads. They're going to be moved into more vulnerable positions, and whoever spots out who first, or whoever's movement is a bit weaker and allowed the other one to get the shots in, will really find something to make this happen for their squad. Belmoth throwing out the smokes. They already know that there is no sneakiness that's happening. Belmoth and Lucarux have a very good idea of where the other ones are playing from. So instead, it's just trying to lean into safety. Is the Dorito going to be enough, really, that Belmoth can play around it and feel safe, while we've seen VP have to kind of slow down as far as their control and positioning, and it is going to be Full Sense that's creeping in and finding new firing lines.
You got to play for the zone to force players out of position.
Yeah.
That's what both teams are trying to get ahead of the curve with on each other. You know, VP had a bit of an advantage early, I'd say, but now that's kind of starting to fall apart a little bit. There is an uphill that they're going to have to crest. And Full Sense with this center circle, more center circle control that they've somehow been able to establish. I thought VP would be able to kind of have decent sightlines to at least harass these movements. Instead, they've got some really great smokes here. Belmoth with some of his own, now a few follow-ups to really help him get into position to try to hold down VP's entry angle in towards the center dot.
The way that we've seen that defensive position fall for him is giving them some areas to work with. Virtus Pro has leaned heavily into the east, specifically into Belmoth and Tigger's position, with Flash still playing back behind. Flash doesn't have the clean sight lines that he wants. A lot of smokes down, and Belmoth spots out Lucarux. That's a momentum shift. Now starting to get more vision back into Correxi. Needs collapse right in front of him, but narrowly stays alive. This one goes a bit too far, not going to get the follow-up. So Full Sense still clinging to the momentum off of it. Tigger's creeping up closer and closer by the second. Does VP even know? Finally, it's going to be Belmoth that goes down.
All right, let's see what they can do. Virtus Pro, 2 players versus 2. Flash, I think 1 bullet left in that Lynx, trying to get a little bit further forward, trying to cut off the VP advancement, but they had a lot of smokes left. In fact, they still have 3. The blue zone is out to clear some space. A rotate here from Full Sense to try to bamboozle it. It works.
We can see Full Sense has control over the dot. It's going to be on VP to fight their way out. Corexi gets the knock. We're down to a 1v1. Jockeying around the smokes. Flash on one side, Corexi on the other. Corexi starting to lean around the smokes. Is he going to spun? He does, and that's going to be a follow-up. VP gets another one.
Back-to-back wins for Virtus Pro, and they are shooting up the leaderboards here on day 2. And look at that. Nixie's so happy there. Corexi stands tall. It looked shaky, it looked dicey, but they're able to hang on.
Respect to both teams. They played that so well, realizing how you need to handle a situation like that. And the peaks back and forth between them were just nerve-wracking over and over to be able to rally through that. Both squads finding opportunities and successes, but it's Virtus Pro that takes the win at the end.
I thought Full Sense maybe had just outmaneuvered them. It looked really, really close. You know, Belmoth got the knock. He actually did some follow-up damage before he got taken down, but they just weren't able to capitalize quite enough.
Yeah, that Tigger position right next to the center of dot, I thought was going to spin it, but again, VP reads the circle, reads what the opponents are going to do, and carries them to victory.
It's the back-to-back for Virtus Pro. We've got EMEA going absolutely radio rental here for our first 3 games. And Virtus Pro takes Tago. Avenger and Toffee's here with me to talk about this one. Martin, it's another EMEA win.
It is.
Oh,
I was actually expecting.
I'm actually happy that
3 times.
I was very happy for that.
I was actually excited to hear it from Toffee, you know, because he's excited too. He's got Nixie on his fantasy team.
You should have heard me. Don't flush, don't flush. It was a great end game. And I'm going to be honest, VP barely pulled that one out at the end there. It got a little bit sketchy. I thought they were in a better spot to start, but it came down to that Corexi. Big moment at the end, worth every penny.
It was. But also, I got to say this. Very stale and difficult endgame, right?
Yes.
You can see how strategic it was. Okay, we got to hold on to our smoke. We got to deploy our emergency cover at the right time and kind of get it. There was a time where I was like, okay, Full sense they might do it, but they were in a 3-2 situation. But yeah, correction 2, good man.
Yep.
Let's go, correction.
I also think Full Sense benefited from having those Doritos in the smoke because the amount of grenades that sort of negated, all of the grenades that VP saved for the end game just came to nothing because of that, emergency cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 2.5 minutes worth of, as you say, that stalemate going down, just waiting and biding their time as they're moving on in. For a Full Sense, by the time we actually got to the conflict, no smokes in hand anymore. VP had 10 smokes left available to them, and it might have been the determining factor here, all things considered.
For sure. I mean, you have 40-50 seconds of efficient bloom where it kind of works out right, and if you do it right with a small kind of line towards it, that's great. So yeah, honestly for me, utility wins late game. In a 3 versus 3 late game here, and you see emergency cover in this case here fully negated 4 or 5 mates.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, especially when you see that circle establish itself, there's not a lot of cover out there.
Yeah.
We have seen teams, they are heavily investing that trunk space into deployables significantly more than I think we're used to in the past. And that is because we've seen even inflatable boats, for crying out loud, are being used for cover because of those situations that present themselves. Big pick for VP.
It's a tough 1v1 for Flash at the end against Kirexi, and it will be Virtus Pro walking away with 12 kills from that game. The back-to-back for the Virtus Pro lads here as they look to try and challenge the top spots in the leaderboard. For Full Sense, it's a very important game as well, let's be real, because they were languishing towards the bottom here, Toffees, and this has to be the bump up they need.
Languish was an excellent word for how they've been, because when they came out of group stages so strong, the group stage heroes, to finally put up some numbers and almost get that chicken dinner here is exciting to see Belmoth showing up on that damage dealer list. But the big problem is, while we see this moment, VP is actually going to climb up, I think, into the contest of 3, but we still got Shrimzy, we still got Lou. Twisted Minds and Falcons refuse to not appear in the scoring.
22 points for Virtus Pro. Fantastic stuff to launch them up. Now, what's interesting to me about these overalls is that E-Arena got 6, and halfway through that game, I saw that they had moved up to 3rd place as well. So, hey, they're making a good run for it as well, Avenger.
Yeah, E-Arena looking good. Full Sense. If they can get things turned on here, we're halfway through it, guys. This was the 9th match. We're halfway through it. And with the total leaderboard looking like this already, 22 points from Virtus Pro up to this. This is still, we need to, it's a win with 12 kills, with both Falcons and Twisted Minds having 0-point games, which has not been happening so much so far, right?
No.
So it's going to take them the rest of the day to try to catch up still if they can continue their campaign.
89 and 89 is a problem for the rest of the lobby, and there was also a moment in that game where I saw good old Falcons with 3 Panzerfausts, a BRDM, and they were playing full 2025 PUBG.
Falcons is like, we're tired of people using them against us, so we're just going to take all of them. Smile on H-Win's face as he looked over the top of the stairs and Gustav was looking in the other direction. Hit him with the Panzer and then smiled. Another big moment that I thought was fascinating, we saw Team Liquid pull a little bit of mean. They took all of Forrest's blue chips, put them in a car, and blew it up. Are you for that? What do you think?
No,
you're not.
For me, I'm not personally a fan of getting my blue chips blown up, so I can't get back into the game, to be honest. So I'm sure the pros aren't either.
But it is viable.
It is viable. I mean, if you're gonna stunt somebody's growth in the game, why on earth not? Well, we are just moments out before we get into Rondo. Any final thoughts, Toffees?
I think it's time for those teams in the middle. Like VP after one game still has to play catch up. Everyone needs to move now.
Yeah, we still need to catch up against the top 2. Let's do it. It's ready to Rondo as we head over to the casters for all the action.
Desk nailed it. We got 2 squads starting to get a lead, and they are scary squads. But VP has been on a run today. Can they get it in another game to try to play catch-up?
Yeah, you're looking to see if you can just keep the magic going for VP. They have been stellar here today.
They were so excited after that win, man.
Yeah, that was a big one. I mean, that was a huge difference maker. Potentially one of those you're looking at as a game that, if you don't clutch it out, if Kirexi isn't able to come through in that 1v1, that's a couple point difference there for you. Who knows where you end up on the leaderboard. And now you're, right in the ability to get into contention. You're not in contention yet, but you are starting to flirt with the top of that leaderboard. And, Falcons, Twisted Minds, sure, they're still up there. They've been doing their job. But you've got some real strong, teams coming from the rear of the pack.
It's been a bit of a slide for Fase today. And they started off pretty strong, but it's just been VP just point sponging everything away from everybody in the lobby. The middle of the pack squads just getting more and more caught up with each other as, I mean, if anything, at least demonstrating with VP, hey, you can break away from the pack. It's just a matter of, is there going to be an opportunity that any of these squads that are just playing out of their minds today will present?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh,
God, this
hey.
circle too, way to the southeast. This is long. Yeah, we might get a tin long finish here. There's some weird stuff to talk about if we go down there, but we'll kind of wait and see what the next couple circles want to do. And this is a nice start again for VP in terms of having some early prio. 17 could have early prio again. They weren't really able to capitalize on that in the previous game.
I love those.
The cat ears?
The cat ears, man.
Yeah, they're pretty adorable.
Especially the fact that they've got lights on them. So this is where I'm going to grab my stick and I'm going to poke 17 and be like, do something, guys. It's been a bit of a slide. You have inside track to whatever you want, so no excuses in this game. It's just finding a way to make something happen after a squad that's been having some really good international performances, just kind of letting this one slide.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, winning PGS 7 earlier this year, you would think that they are not out of it just yet, but it feels like this has got to be kind of one of those moving games for them. And if they're going to make that late surge, that's got to start now. VP has made theirs. They are well and truly in this. I mean, they went from 13th to 3rd in a matter of 2 games.
Yeah. So looking also across this, Volsins, who's been pretty active inside these games, even making the later stages of that last one lined up against VP. Positioning not showing it. Still holding down 12th, but that's just due to how compressed the leaderboard is, as it's, what, just 5 points will get you all the way up into 9th, and then you have another break point of about 10 points. But it's, you can see it's still very close for these guys, just kind of ranging anywhere from, I would say, VP all the way down to, what, Al-Qadsia?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's 32 points. That's a chicken dinner plus some,
22
plus
kills.
a couple games. Yeah, plus a couple games of help.
We've seen it before at PGS.
Yeah, we just saw it with with VP. So for sure, doable. You just got to string a couple good games together, and then you're right back in the mix. That's what you're looking for. We're hoping to see some of these teams that are down towards the bottom start making their run, start contesting, and you got to hope that somehow, some way, Twisted Minds and Falcons start to stumble just a bit. But with the way those two teams have been playing, with the confidence they have, with the kills that they're raking in, no matter what the situation is, it's going to be tough.
Look, we got Twisted and Falcons both tied up at the top. Give me more of that, because I know it's exciting. A squad that has opportunity ahead of them is going to be Fase. Let's hear from Fase.
For these PGSs, we've put in a lot of work and time just trying to improve our game, going through replays of our games, checking spots, just putting in just a ton of work to make it here. I think our biggest obstacle into lifting the trophy would be getting more kills in our games. We've been very good at getting placement points, but we need to get more kills in these games.
Simple.
Brutal honesty, and I agree with it. I mean,
kill more.
They get into position well, but this is a squad that has a lot of firefighting capabilities that we haven't really seen. Like, when are we going to get the Fex pop-off? It's always brewing. I want it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I fully agree with him, and kind of hinted at the beginning of the day that FaZe has done a great job of, with the macro. The micro's got to come alive. My only concern
yesterday was good for them, but
yeah.
Just today hasn't been there.
Well, yeah, for sure. But yesterday it was, again, if you look at their placement points, like I think the desk had a pre-show segment about this, that they had all these great placements, but they weren't able to really rake in a ton of kills behind it. So my concern with FaZe is that, okay, you've got that part of your game down. How do you add in the ability to find those kills on top of it? Don't overcommit to some of these third-party pushes or some of these angles and things like that might end up losing you players where normally you would get a little bit deeper into the game. Instead, you kind of overcommit for the kills. That's my only concern.
So here's my question to you. When does Fase Sunday occur? Because we're dealing with some time zone differences, whenever we look across kind of different regions. Is it like North American Fase Sunday time, European Fase Sunday time?
Well, they're behind all of us. We're on the far other end of the world.
That could make it to where maybe there's a chance that there isn't a Fase Sunday.
So you're saying there's a chance?
That there isn't a Fase Sunday? That's like the denial of a chance.
No, I mean, I think just with the new phase, it's just rock steady, good gameplay that's going to get them places. And if I'm Fase, I'm mostly doing exactly the same kind of stuff that they've been doing, just occasionally when it gets towards that late game, then maybe you want to turn it on and look for those third-party opportunities, maybe look for some ability to control a little bit more high ground in towards those late games so you can find those moments where you can pivot and go for kills. But
well, it leads into kind of what Claris was making a joke about. You know, like 2025 PUBG, it gets popping off really early, especially given like previous years that could have had a bit of a slower meta. We can see some really big firefights happening in Phase 1, 2, and 3 nowadays. And that can lead to a lot more chaos that gets difficult to track if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes those kill feeds go crazy real fast. And
well, a couple of players have talked about it's almost better to be involved in those fights because it makes tracking information a bit easier because you're in the thick of it. If you're one of the squads that's playing edge away and safe and watching it all, sometimes you just can't follow it all the same way. And I've never heard that perspective until this year.
Yeah, especially if you're involved in a skirmish while all of it's going on or something like that. Maybe not a hot and heavy fight, but then it makes it even more difficult to track all that info. So definitely a lot of pressure being put on whoever you put in charge of that for your team. Sometimes it's IGL, sometimes it's not. It kind of depends on the team. But, I saw Purdy Curdy there did pick up a Mark 14 out of a crate, so a nice early pickup for Team Liquid, who desperately needs a good game.
Which is weird because we keep seeing big moments with Team Liquid. Here is another potential for one as the Expendables are roaming just directly into him. Purdy Curdy gets an opening knock onto it. Alo follows up as well. Sparking's roaming around the outside, and there's a follow-ins. Alo wants to go for this one, doesn't want to go around too fast. Does finally get that knock at range. Tanvo lines in, gets just a perfect shot. Alo's got to be careful, and Nate back behind him realizes it, walks into the open, and that's going to be Team Liquid who survives, but does lose Kurt as a casualty.
Okay, that's totally fine here for Team Liquid. They have the ability to get the revive. That is just fine. You win that fight. That is a huge move from Alo there to sidestep that frag grenade and get the kill. And also waiting on that player that went for the drop shot to start standing back up. That's when he re-peeked, got that kill. That was so well played by Alo.
Sparking just providing all the information up on top. We got ourselves an emergency pickup, I believe, and that's going to be Begapa getting yoinked into space as they're going to have a while before they're probably going to cut those ropes. Maybe around 10 on Garden, but that's kind of open-ish, but that puts you next to Gen G.
Well, that's not where I'd want to be right now because Gen G has shown nothing but willingness to fight.
I don't want to go anywhere in the circle at this stage. I guess
you got to go south.
Go Renjong, maybe.
Yeah.
But they have no idea to go there.
No, but that's where Liquid's going to be going to go for their revive. So it is going to be a little bit tricky for Begopah to try to navigate some of this. They might get baited into going Tinlong Garden. Gen G's going to see it, and they might be able to set up some traps potentially. Falcons are going to be north central circle just by Twisted Minds. You'd love to see those two maybe get in a fair fight, see what they can do against each other, as they've been the two best performing teams here so far at PGS 9.
I'm feeling a potential of a bait. This is so far south. There's the temptation, the cut at last minute, try to drop, put your backs up against the zone wall where there can be nobody behind you. But Gen G is so far south, they will see that, and they will be able to destroy it.
Well, there's a lot that could go wrong here for Begopah.
And it feels like that might be what they're thinking. And
I think they're going to drop it Tinlong.
Think so? Be bold? Just drop in the compound no matter what? Well, with that shift, I guess go for it, right?
Yep. That should be... Well, if they keep going, man, okay, so that compound that Full Sense in is amazing in this circle. It is nigh unbeatable if it gets kept in, but they're actually heading towards 17. There's only two players here? Yeah. They're in vehicles. They're leaving. They don't want to fight this. That's crazy.
Begopah just bullies it. That is incredible for them, as I believe now we have gotten a call coming in from Team Liquid. They should be able to reinforce. Al-Qadzia is kind of watching a couple of these rotates that are going to be happening next to them. So Burram, 4 Angry Men going to be wrapping very close to each other. Gen G just has to step in a bit further. Burram, how far into this do you want to go? Is there a couple of pathing options that could put you closer to Lang? It's going to be all she wrote for Kiss. He's going to get dropped out of his vehicle, and there's going to be another firing line opened up from Full Sense. You talked about the strength of this compound. You're starting to see it. It's just... And even being center is a double whammy.
But I don't like just going too far out here. This is okay. Scoop up what you can, but man, oh man, you're flirting with danger here. You can't see what's on the other side of this hill. Yeah, you've got some cover. You've got some cover, but you're playing with fire a bit there. The good news for him is that nobody from Forest is close enough to do anything about it, so he's actually going to be okay. It's risky business, but it does end up paying off.
Just so patient with this, and I mean, well played on a technical level. Yeah, you did lose one, but I mean, Kalori's almost turned that back around all by his lonesome. But Alo just reads it so well.
That's so beautiful from Alo. And a nice sidestep there. Again, Revive did come through.
I like how Duck Juice is even smiling in that
he's just permanently laughing. Look at this sparking just.
Oh no!
No.
It's fine. He should be resable.
He's fine.
There's nobody over here. It just doesn't feel good whenever that. Well, actually,
does Flame have an angle?
No, the hillside's an
Oh, he is so lucky.
I got baited by the X-ray for a second.
My head is in my hands. Poor sparking.
That's just kind of telling for what's been going on with Team Liquid on the leaderboard, right? They have good things that are happening. It's just like a weird thing here or there.
Yeah, you're just putting him in the car. Like a friend who had a few too many to drink, and you got to bring him home. Let's get you somewhere safe, buddy. Get you some water.
It's okay. We'll make it over to the compound in a second. You can take a nap. Find you some coffee and water.
Get you back on your feet in no time. So, okay, not the end of the world there for Liquid, but some early kind of shenanigans, but they've come through it on the other side with all four up regardless, as E-Arena loves to do a little glider action.
This is a wide split from E-Arena. This is a full four-man split.
Well, Sungjong is way away from the rest of his team, and he wisely doesn't commit too much further to that angle, because if he did, 7-7 had him done. Yeah.
So we just saw 17 wrapping in closer to full Sense's position, as well as Begapa. Xiao Bei has spotted out this rotate from Fase. He's pretty separated away from the rest of his team as well, at least feeding the information over that, hey, there's a wrap that's going to be coming in. New Circle Pops does lean down the south. You're talking about 10 Long Garden. We still got a section of it that's going to be up, but look, the teams in the north, that's a pretty open section. I wouldn't necessarily call it a field, but it's dicey enough that you don't want to cross it, because you can see how it kind of has all these crazy angles, and that's going to make it really hard to rotate through. Just the hills aren't really hills.
What is going on this game? James just fell to his death too. Things are all kinds of weird in this one for sure. It should be resable, but this is not the stage of the game where you want to have that happen, because this is a circle shift that there isn't a ton that's playable in this circle, actually. There's some really big wide open fields in the middle of it, and those compounds towards the middle are so valuable. Damasty going to be valuable for Buriram. So said out of this one. As some of these teams up on the north that you were talking about with all this congestion, Matt, you have to make a decision here. Do you fight or do you crash?
Did you see what we had going on to the right there? It's a hill, but it's like it's just got dips that are going down. It's a terrace, so that way for farming and everything else. But it makes rotation so crazy. So if you have the map stream open as well, you can see that the north is just covered in them. And if you're rotating down them, yeah, fine. Rotating up them, no way it's going to happen.
Yeah, I've seen this circle a couple times, and basically every time it's the compounds that are in that northern half of this road that are going to be playable. Everything else is pretty garbage. Although, ooh, that's another good grenade from Opons. Shrimzy on the receiving end this time, and he might just be out. Oh, that follow-up wasn't close enough.
I mean, kick once this one, but it's scary. Molotov's going to be landing. Yeah, and Kenny, nope. Hey, at least present some loot. Thanks, I'll take that one. Falcons, remember this isn't in the safe zone, and guess what? There's more problems, because example, here is this. He's going to be able to backstab anything that the Falcons try to do to get out of this point. VP is also, I think, starting to get some idea on what's going to be happening, so they're trying to see if maybe they can get into position. They might be able to cut out E-Arena's wrap. 4 Angry Men having to deal with Na'Vi. Opon does spot out H1 in the fight that we were just walking. Fairest does spot out Longs.
Longs went good, aggressive one. Oh my God, he gets another. Unbelievable the day he's having. Xiaolu finds the backstab, but here comes Hakatori and company. Hakatori lighting him up, doing some decent damage, looking for some more. Saw the frag come out and had the counter angle from Extends to finish the job.
That's the East starting to get a bit more calm. Back into the North, we still have E-Arena with Falcons, now just down to Kickstart. But E-Arena, while they're wrapping, trying to see if they can finish this out as fast as they can. They now have to deal with Virtus Pro as well as Twisted. There is an angle for E-Arena to retreat from this if they play into the East, but they have to be careful. While this is going on, Buriram is actually wrapping into the exact same position that we just saw a moment ago, and so that's going to be Na'Vi holding defense.
Yeah, Hakatori wasn't able to get one. Edie shuts him down. Extends was there again for cover fire. They really want to get those points as both teams. You can see they're both really tunneled in on going for the flushes. Hakatori will finally go down to Edie, so Extends doing his best. They do have Fairest in the game as well still, so Na'Vi, 2 players trying to fall back a little bit, maybe find a better angle to try to take this Buriram fight.
There's a lot of high ground advantages that you can play from. Let Buriram have the lower section of it, just be fine. But it looks like Buriram isn't going to be too content to let that sit. So got to be careful. E-Arena did lean more into the west, so that puts them with VP. So that's why you can see Perfectix and taking shots into VP, while E-Arena also dealing with issues. But is the nade going to go down into the cubby? This is going to be hard. You've got to cook it right so it rolls, and yes, does land. Fairest down, Extends the last one up. Buriram doesn't have the vision, but the blue zone is going to land right on top of him. Follow-up utility going to be enough. Edie now has the capabilities to path over.
Yeah, there's a fight going on with E-Arena and VP too, but this one right now not looking so good for Na'Vi. That grenade's perfect from Edie, and he's going to claim 2. Beamy on the other side finds 2 of his own with a grenade, bouncing that other one off. It would have gotten Nurens had it gone a little bit closer, I think, but took a funky angle off of that coop.
Here comes Twisted. They sent 2 members over, make it 3. They're trying to pounce, see if they can get some kills with Falcons out. They can have a chance to get some space on the leaderboard. Up on top, it's going to be Example taking the shots, but not getting them to connect the way that they want. Both squads in VP and E-Arena now in a ton of trouble based off the defensive line that Twisted has managed to set up.
Yeah, I don't even know. At this point, both of these teams are actually pretty done.
Yep.
This is going to sound crazy, but I think you're just better off tying to the blue at this point. Don't feed any points over to Twisted Minds if you've reasoned out that that's them that are barreling in on you from the north. Too late. The grenades are good. Example takes down Beamy. Virtus Pro not able to continue their run here. Twisted Minds Example has 3 kills already.
The only benefit for VP is the fact that Twisted is still also eyeing this, seeing if they can hold. Well, actually, they might be fine with letting Nurens just kind of hang out in the blue. We are at phase number 4, so it's going to continue to stack. Wrap, this is not the way you want to go. Alcazia, you're going to be running right up next to Begaba, but Rollo doesn't care. Gets a nice shot as he's roaming. It's going to be Park Bro that spots out the other side of it. But there's also Gen G that's over here taking shots, and Team Liquid could also spot. This is a big firefight with a lot of squads getting involved.
Oh, D there just got Park Pro after he threw that grenade, so it's huge back and forth. Gen G claiming a few players from Alcazia. Sungjang trying to get back behind the tree for some safety. D on the other side, but Sungjang gonna take down Rello, and a good grenade from Tozy. Here comes Gen G.
Gen G can't run in too much. Team Liquid wanted to get involved, but they got held out by 17, so this has become contained right now just off Gen G. New circle pops, and it moves to the terraces where we can see Full Sense continuing to hold position. Begapa, after that crazy emergency pickup, still in the later stages of this, but they really can't move. Gen G's got them on lock. Team Liquid has Gen G on lock, so everybody is kind of stuck. It's remnants of what we just saw in the north.
Yeah, Gen G, though, opting to back off of this fight, saying, okay, we got a few out of this, well, just 1 kill out of it, and actually they're losing players, scrambling to get back through. Bean gonna get cut down by 7-7, so smoke's already there, maybe a res available, but Orca's gonna see Forest down below him, making their way in through that valley. Hasn't made his presence known just yet, but this is getting a little bit dicey for Gen G because you've opened up a door for a backstab from Bagel Pa.
You just got to lean into Orca, and Orca is going to provide. Gets knocked, but that draws attention now from Full Sense, who's still running a 2-2 in strong compound position. Forest starting to see if they can aggressively just push down this hillside past Burram, get right next to Full Sense, and they found a little cubby that they can hold for now, but is still going to be vulnerable to Burram's position.
Yeah, and it's also vulnerable to Gen G as Tosi has Olympus down. Full Sense here. I mean, again, those two compounds they have are just so broken in these circles, so they're going to be able to continue to just make life a nightmare. You can see even on the rotation out, Full Sense hitting Gen G in the back. 17 just going to play it quiet out on the edge, but my only concern here for Full Sense is they're still split 2-2, so if somebody opts into a four-man crash onto one of those compounds, goodbye, Akan. Luke 12 has that Mark 14 and puts it to good use. Sungjang, what can you do from here? He still has a ton of first aids, though.
It's going to be Forrest going down due to a reposition from Edie. Team Liquid's doing a good job on being just loud enough to be scary so that way nobody comes after him. Gen G has this path down that they can look for. 17 spotted out that position that we saw Fase had to stop at earlier after the knock. Gustav just runs right up into their face. He's got a ton of ammo, but he's going to go down. Jeem's the last one up. He's going to get eliminated. 17 finds a way to stay surviving over here, but they've got to be careful. Actually, Nurens is still alive and creeping in back behind them. Does he want to take shots, or does he just want to use them as meat shields?
That's a good question. He's not able to find that flush onto the knock, because actually Batulin's gotten involved in that fight too from Twisted. Gen G back up to 4 somehow, some way. I don't know how they got these reses. I thought they were going to hemorrhage a player or two in that, even get a P90 to boot in all of this chaos. So again, Full Sense still in a pretty big split, but you've got a bunch of teams that are now going to make their way through Gen G right in front of Buriram, and they're going to stop up and take this fight.
I'm not surprised. You stop before you see the car wreckage in front of you. Be like, I feel like somebody threw a nade into that, and I don't want to get involved. Lean a bit further south of it. Buriram doesn't have the throwable range for that just quite yet. Well, really the angle for it that's going to feel good. Circle actually leans more into Full Sense in 17, so everybody that's been fighting the south is going to continue to have to do it. Buriram sitting at 7 kills with just 2 alive, has Full Sense to the north, and is this going to be support? And
there's a replay.
Where did this go?
This is on to Phase.
Yeah, I know, but this is how they finished off Phase. Gotcha.
Well, they didn't finish him off. They just got some kills. Yeah, so, I mean, Full Sense is taking full advantage of their opportunity here in this game with all the abilities given to them. And now some good grenades from Gen G. Ruse did get one, but Gen G playing gatekeep and doing a great job of it. Gonna run in, scoop up some of that extra utility from their fallen opponents. 17 now getting crashed potentially by Twisted.
This is just a bold play using this small dip in the hill. Nade's going to try to be bounced off the backboard. Good bounce onto it. Goes, I think, a bit. No, actually does connect onto Xiaowu. I thought it might have gone a bit too far. 17, they've got this hillside that's going to provide some cover, and Twisted didn't have any options. They've just got a hard send in. Xiaobei has a sneaky angle, connects onto one. It's just him and Little Ghost left. Perfectix trying to just run his way in. That was a crazy seat swap. Just bully his way in.
That was beautiful. Use that nice cover setup that they created with the Pico bus against him. Beautifully thought out by Twisted Minds. Now they're all alone on that western side. That is devastating for 17 Gaming. They maybe could have gotten a little bit further in this game, maybe accrued a few more points. Instead, the rich get richer. Twisted Minds going to be able to get their revives. Here we go. Team Liquid, 6 kills deep into a game, 2 players up. Can they get any further?
Full Sense, who had these compounds for so long, now down to 2 after the assault that came after them. Gen G still sitting at 4. Twisted on the far west. They've got multiple members up, but it doesn't feel good. They don't have a lot of good ways to navigate this circle. So while Full Sense has the compound, they have 2 different squads, and Team Liquid and Gen G both looking after them. Should point out, though, this has at least been some type of rally for Team Liquid at the bottom of the leaderboard.
No, it is the best game we've seen from them, really, throughout this entire Grand Finals. But my big key right now for Gen G is you've got to deal with Twisted. You've got to find a way to barricade them from another circle, but they don't really have good options. Instead, they're going to try to crash through here. There's a ton of players still left over.
This is very, very bold. Runs right in between the two duos. That puts him in an outnumbered situation. Orca just runs in, feeling himself. Quick exchange. Orca does take down Luke, but Luke takes down Tosi. Following, it's going to be also Kurt coming alive in a big moment for his squad. Spots it out, but Flame is going to be able to get enough. Here comes Full Sense back behind it. Tigger tries to come up with the way the cars have connected in. Full Sense does not have the angles to work with. Twisted realizes the opportunity. They wrap around. They're trying to get circle control while Full Sense is in trouble.
Bean doing a nice job there holding the line against Tanadol. Just down to Tigger for Full Sense. Bean slides back, wants to get that heal through. Flame trying to use that grenade to buy themselves a little bit of time and space, but this is a golden opportunity for Twisted Minds to separate themselves from the Falcons on the leaderboard.
This is great. This gives them control over the circle. Tigger is now trapped. Gen G making this move was a catalyst to unlock the way that they wanted to get across this, which they thought would be way too vulnerable from these compounds. Now, just 2 members for Gen G down the south, outside of the safe zone, while Tigger has a compound and Twisted has everything else.
The only chance you have here as Gen G is if somehow Twisted Minds oversteps, which they shouldn't. They don't need to go into this compound. There's no reason for them to take that fight. So Gen G just, I mean, you still have a vehicle. You can try to crash, but this is dangerous against a player of Tigger's caliber.
They managed to steal it, at least get right up into his face. One member, Flame's just going to be patient with it, but here comes Perfectix. This is the problem. Too many angles onto the side of this. Tigger is trying to stay alive. Gets good angles. Bean does go down, but Tigger took a lot of damage. Perfectix on the outside. Gen G does get eliminated. Now it's just Tigger. Sure, Twisted doesn't have to go for this compound, but now they kind of want to.
Yeah, and it's a grenade from Example that finishes the job. What a nice win for Twisted Minds. A bizarre finish to that game, but they are going to take that every day of the week. But that fight they took against 17 was the winning move.
And that's with the Falcons going down pretty early. Twisted finding a ton of points. We're going to have a new break point where Twisted's up on top with some breathing room away from the Falcons, as we're going to be making our way over to Erangel in just a few seconds. Everything's starting to get more and more precarious for these teams. Falcons got to rally. Team Liquid at the bottom starting to find some life, but it's just not going to be enough. They need so much more, as it's Erangel time, baby.
It's the triple-digit break for Twisted Minds as they're able to take game number 4 of the day. That's match 10 in the book. And guess what? It's a 4th out of 4 for EMEA Martin.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man. What a crazy day to get things rolling here. And on top of that, I will say this. I will say this, though. This was an insane game, you know?
Yeah.
With how everything worked out, with the 17 pull-up onto Faceland, and then, of course, Twisted Minds pulling up to 17 and completely dominating them. That was insane.
It's nice that Twisted Minds finally got their second chicken dinner. Falcons did it a long time ago.
All right.
Yesterday, yeah, they did it the first day. So,
Yeah, cool.
That's it. Twisted Minds looks ridiculously unstoppable. Even with like the zoomer angles that they were trying to get stopped with on that shack, the push was nonstop. Twisted Minds feels like they are on track to dominate both PGSs. The question is, last time that happened, the next big show didn't go so well, and PGC is just around the corner. So maybe don't peak too soon.
Wait a minute, you're clutching at straws here. What's this?
Yes, well, give me something. You both walked down the hallway chanting EMEA on the way.
I did do that. I was like, EMEA, EMEA, EMEA. But it has been a bit of a barn burner for us, to be fair.
Yes, 100%.
The fact that Na'Vi gets it double VP into Twisted Minds as well, it has currently been a bit of domination, despite us getting a lot of like Gen G getting into these late games, Thailand as a whole getting into these late games, Falcons also doing some stuff, but they can't quite wrestle these wins away from them.
The problem is that it's stacking up and soaking up too quickly at the very top, right?
Yeah,
They're
for sure.
Not getting these very bad games and not getting these 0 and 1 and 2 point games that they need to have for the other teams to catch up, or at least to have an opportunity to catch up. That's the problem.
I will say this. At the start of the day, we said, where are you, Full Send, group stage heroes? This is the second game in a row where they got second place. They're putting numbers on the board.
Sure.
So at the very least, Full Send waking up.
Sense, yeah.
Full Sense, well, they're full sending right now, and I think that's working sort of okay.
They had the right compounds for it. They had a decent split across it and were able to hold it for a long time. So they do get themselves 7 kills with that 1,400 damage. Twisted Minds, technically, with the 9 kills. In terms of damage and actual exertion on the lobby, bit of a quieter game, 1.1k damage.
Yeah, a little more efficient killing here for them with the 100. And the team stats here, Example pulling up. Actually, Batulis is thieving. Look at that, 3 kills with 123 damage.
He's still...
The swap-a-roo in the car as well is looking good.
He's stealing from the guy on my fantasy team. Perfectic, 630 damage.
He's on all our teams.
I know, right? Batu, stop stealing. No, but for real, I like that they're spreading it around. The team is always putting work. Remember, in the last game, Lou had 5 kills. This time, 0.
Yeah.
So they are a complete unit. Example, in the group stages, not the hero we're used to. That's because he is a finals hero. Turning up here, finally making some big moves, and love to see Example doing it.
He's the cyborg of PUBG, and he will take a man of the match for this one for Twisted Minds. This does give us a bit of a predicament because we are now over half the games.
Yeah.
We get Twisted Minds now on triple digits here, Avenger. It does currently feel like Falcons is the one to try and rival their position. But if you get given games like this as Twisted Minds, if that continues, they will run away with it.
You say get given, I say taking.
Oh, of course,
right?
of course.
Yeah, the
You're
pull-ups, the third parties, everything. And on top of that, I also want to say this. The amount of points that they've got now in 10 games, I think will be 15 or 20 more points that they had in 12 games in their win in Esports World Cup. Just to really put on how far they're already taking it here and how much of a lead they're building after just 10 games.
Well, it will be that 19 points going their way. Gen G, some all-important points continuing on. And Team Liquid, likewise, very important, 12 points for them.
Okay, so Team Liquid finally did something. I'm not going to say anything.
Hooray.
I'm not going to jinx it. Keep going, boys. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Gen G, though, is the big one for me because we also, at the start of the show, the same way we talked about Full Sense, we said Gen G, other than that one game, was sort of unremarkable yesterday.
Sure.
Here, we've got 2 third-place finishes in placement. Second here if you count those kill points. Gen G definitely turning up now at 72 on the leaderboard. I think that's pretty impressive for a team that a year ago we were going, do they even deserve to be GPT anymore?
A little bit terrifying, though. 108 points from Twisted Minds. Aside from Falcons that did not move in this previous game, Gen G, Virtus.pro, Eerie, and all of these teams looking to try and leap forwards into that position. I will say, Martin, we came into the start of the day saying, you know what? Fase looking pretty good at day number 1. Day number 2, not very good.
It's been falling off a little bit. But also, I got to say this. Twisted Minds having built a 36-point lead down to third place already.
Wow.
If the lobby doesn't collectively start stopping them, nobody's going to be able to.
Oh, you say 30 to 20 points to second is still absolutely bananas for us to be only in match 10. And the problem is they're playing unstoppably. They're playing really well as a unit, and now they have so much padding that they don't have to worry about anything that they do. As long as they're playing their game and getting a consistent 5, who can possibly catch them?
Definitely a problem.
It is.
It's quite the predicament that we find ourselves in here, and I'm getting word that we are ready for a break. So when we return on the other side of this, it's going to be 2 Erangels here. The lobby must catch up with Twisted Minds and do it now.
balance changes for SMGs in the Panzerfaust, some updates to the recall system, and a PvE collaboration flush with interesting enemies. All this and more as we dive into the Update 38.1 patch report. First up, we're doing a balance shuffle for SMGs in the Panzerfaust this update. Across the board, SMGs will have less accurate hip fire, and the MP5K is also seeing a slight reduction in damage. For the Panzerfaust, players will now be restricted from running, jumping, and vaulting while wielding this powerful weapon. And players inside a vehicle will be protected a bit, taking reduced damage from its blast. There are a couple more changes as well to make sure there's enough risk to the Panzerfaust's reward. So let us know how these changes feel. Next, the recall system is getting some alterations. Time required to register blue chips beyond the first will now increase by 5 seconds for each additional chip being registered. We've also added information about how many players are returning to the battlegrounds with each recall, and have removed the Phase 6 recall on 8x8 maps. Once again, let us know how these changes feel once you get in-game. Next, we're dressing up a bit for spooky season with an arcade mode that gives new meaning to the term crapshoot. In this collaboration with the popular internet show Skibidi Toilet, you'll assemble your squad of 4 and plunge into Miramar to clench victory against the toilet invasion. Collect chemical cans to upgrade your weaponry and make flushing your enemy that much easier. Can your squad save Bidet? Or will you get wiped and end up number 2? Will this announcer ever run out of crappy puns? Log in and put a lid on the invasion starting October 22nd on PC and October 30th on console. We've also added destructible terrain to Miramar, which doesn't include building destruction, and updated the pass system to allow for multiple passes at once. This allows us to introduce an event pass tied to the new arcade mode, while still launching a new Survivor Pass. Now you can work on both at the same time. There's also a new ranked season, destructible gas tanks on Destin, map bug fixes, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 38.1 is here, so recall some friends, aim down the sights of those SMGs, and dump some rounds into the Skibidi toilets. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
It is an EMEA day to say the least, as they are stealing every single one of these games. We can't even say stealing. They are fighting and just taking them with authority so far.
Yeah, no. I mean, especially Na'Vi and VP, I think, are playing really, really nicely in their wins. Twisted here, look, again, you make that nice crash against 17, and then everybody else is fighting on the other side of the circle, so it opens the door for you, and you're going to take those opportunities every single time. So you absolutely cannot fault them for the way that they played that, as they distanced themselves quite a bit from the Falcons, who got a 0-point game there.
Yeah, and FaZe, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for you. Still 2 games left on Erangel. Round it out. Just go ahead and give us all the teams from EU picking up something. Falcons, no more goose eggs if you want to be on the chase after Twisted, because you know they will not drop the ball if they get a lead.
Yep. It wouldn't be the first time they've just, like, you know, run the table.
Boy, they shut a door behind them whenever they get a big enough lead.
Dude, you can't give them those opportunities, and I think a little bit of a weird end game there. I gotta kind of question Full Sense not grouping up as 4 earlier.
Yeah, that 2-2 split for too long was the epitome of greed.
Yep.
And Gen G's wrap on the cars around them really just focused so much attention back behind all of that, and just Twisted had themselves kind of backs up into a corner where they couldn't really get out unless Gen G made that one move.
Yep. So there's like a bunch of like domino effect things that happen in that game that open the door for Twisted, and you can't give them those opportunities.
But it all starts with Full Sense and 2-2 split.
It does. So I've seen that circle many times, and if you're in Full Sense's position and you just lock down that compound that it shifted onto, the one where Tigger is in at the very end, if you just lock that down, you win that game. You just do, unless you do something really wild. But because you can control everything to the north, if you look at that circle again, you can see everything that's out there. You have full control over all of that. Just a little do-si-do here.
And it's Burr Ramen the Expendables, so of course it's getting pretty loud with the players.
It's just like a square dance there. You're just kind of
do-si-do.
Yeah, a little
spin your partner around and around.
Spin your partner around and around. Did you ever have to do that in like?
Did I have to?
Yeah. So in my like physical education classes when I was growing up, we had to do square dancing. I'm not even kidding.
You do realize that, again, I told you that I grew up in an area that was 20 minutes away from the nearest convenience
So I assume
store.
you did it too.
Like, my every single Friday was going over to one of the neighbors' barns to play country music, dance, and play dominoes.
Perfect. So you know what it's all about. You've lived that square dance.
The accent that I have now is not the accent that I had back then. Let's just say it that way.
What do you mean? Nothing crazy here to begin with, it looks like.
Yeah, just chill.
I think we're chill.
Center, I mean, just about as center circle as you can get. Everybody's drops pretty clean. This is just basic Erangel. Nothing crazy coming out yet. Falcons did opt into going to Military Base Island. They have E-Arena that's going to be next to them. Gen G is still holding down Crossroads gas station on the western bridge. FaZe on the eastern bridge. Al-Qadsia winning more of my heart by going up next to Zarki. Always love to see that area get some attention.
Me too.
It's the most unloved section of this map.
It really is.
It's because that stupid George Bull Bay.
I know. If it wasn't for that bay, we'd get a few more Zarky circles maybe, but it is what it is, I suppose, as VP has had a nice day into 4th.
A crazy day.
Absolutely insane, as we do have an interview with them. Let's see what they have to say about this amazing run.
Hello, I'm Lisa. I'm here with Nixie from Virtus Pro. So actually with the first back-to-back chicken dinner in PGS 9, you guys did a good job. So can you walk us through the final circle fights against Full Sense and Tegel? Like, what was the communication between you and Kersey and the other teammates?
I mean, in that final zone, we kind of knew that we had a better zone than them. So we just knew that we had to kind of like take a fight on the right side, because we knew there was only one guy on the right, so we were kind of putting smokes on the left, make sure that we take like a 3-1 fight on the right side. Kind of made a mistake by losing Luca, because I said I'm going to hold one side, and then I don't think he kind of catch it, but Correction managed to clutch, so yeah, we're all happy about it. So
yeah, you got it the chicken dinner, and it's a good, very clear information for you, and also a good strategy and good to play. All right, we're back to the game.
The best laid plans of mice and men hold together until Corexy manages to clutch whatever he needs to do.
That's right. Just put it in Corexy's hands. He's good for it.
He's fine. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of VP members popping off. It's like you can't really hold anybody back on this one. It has been just a team effort across that squad.
Yeah, I mean, coming into today, like a lot of us, you know, back in the green room, you know, analysts, casters, all of us were like, man, VP probably could have a good day. Like, it feels like they're a team that should be able to kind of pick up the pace a bit. Na'Vi, as we saw, started out with that kind of like one of those teams that we were like, man, they should be doing a little bit better than they are. So a lot of the EMEA teams that we had a lot of confidence, a lot of faith in, able to really do exactly what we were hoping for, what we were expecting. Also want to give a quick shout out to Gen G, who somehow, some way fought their way up to 3rd place right now. Just well, you could get up there and drive it off. It's K. It's K.
Planned.
It's K. It's K.
Everything's okay.
No problems. No, just don't screw it up when you're driving it off.
Oh my God! Could you imagine if you just nosedive it and it gets stuck again?
Yes, I can.
You just got to slam it in.
Because I've done it. I've had this situation, and I did not execute, which I assume Clories is going to figure it out. What is your plan here, bud?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You get it set up. It wasn't the way he wanted it.
Careful.
Just avoid the boxes in front. Be patient. I like how he goes to the other side.
Don't screw it up.
Again.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
Nobody saw it. Everything's fine. Opons, that's not the start that you want.
Uh-oh.
I was caught up looking at BRDM stuff.
I know.
I don't even know what happened here.
I just missed the kill feed. I was like...
I'm going to take a wild assumption and say Fase.
That seems to be the likely culprit, eh?
I mean, sure. Yep, Vex looks like he's going to be able to spot this one pretty easy. Nurens could take some shots at him, but down guy in a essentially in a field along the beach, how do you defend that?
Yeah, good news is that's actually revivable. It should be. I don't think FaZe is going to really camp that. They're like, we got our point. You guys go ahead and waste your time going for revives.
So if you ever wanted to know if we were in the middle of a centered meta, yes, we are, as there is everyone in their dog chilling in the center of the circle. It's pretty outer edges of it, so I wouldn't be too concerned. Na'Vi pretty much holding down the top of Potato. They've got the centerest of the spots, I would say, with 4 Angry Men pretty close to them, Gen G down to the south, 2-2 split from 17 over into the west on the north and eastern sides of Pachinki. Buram actually going into Pachinki itself, Twist running a 2-2 split up into the north, playing along the road, and then 4 Angry Men kind of spattered over to the east of them with VP to the west of Twist.
Oh, yo, Vard. Oh, Vard. Doing them dirty. Dang, man. That is really nice shooting.
Easy for Vard.
Yeah.
You could say not hard for Vard.
Not hard for Vard. We go hard for Vard, but things are not hard for him because he's just that good. Red zone, just putting everybody indoors. You're just hoping to keep these vehicles safe from it. As Virtus Pro looks like they should be okay, as it does not connect. I did see that Na'Vi grabbed some level 3 gear. There was a DBS in it, but they didn't need it because it's way too early for a DBS. Kickstart going to be grabbing the glider, something we've been seeing from the Falcons quite a bit more in recent memory, as they are wanting to get that info and try to scale off of that when they're outside looking in.
Reminder that they did drop into the main section of military base, so should be pretty looted. No rush coming out as FaZe has kind of surrendered any form of bridge camp potential that could happen. There's the res that you were talking about. Easy enough to pick off. Milt of Power, this is around where E-Arena was already rotating to, so should be fine. There's not a team west of them until we get to Na'Vi. So, 2 kilometers? They've even got some area up into the north if they wrap around prison, so I wouldn't be too worried for them. Al-Qadsia do have a red zone, and given the way that luck has been favoring them, I would be a bit cautious, Al-Qadsia.
Yeah, I'd get out of that ASAP. Don't want to mess with it. One of our later rotating teams here is going to be Bagel Pa, as they are going in towards the northeast of our current zone. 4 a.m. going to be up there ahead, just past the mountains here, or the hills, I suppose, as the J compound is only locked down by 1 player of 4 a.m. I wouldn't... Oh, how, Xiaobei?
Give us more of that. 17, I don't know where that has been, but you still got the aim. Just keep asserting that influence. Remember that 17 is also in a 2-2 split, so this is just territory control. They're not going to do anything other than just get their knocks or whatever they want out of it. Buram still has 2 members, again, that are going to be inside of Pachinki itself, as Opons is making his entrance back into the game.
Yay.
Yay, welcome back, Opons.
Yay. Now, I mean, as far as, revives go, this is, one of the, least bothersome for a team like E-Arena that was going to be on the edge anyway.
Yeah.
It almost is a non-factor, except you give a point to Fase. Like, that's the only thing that you maybe are bothered by in this situation.
The only potential issue of it is how are you going to regroup? Opans is going to be dropping north of the river itself, so he's going to maybe go along Yasnaya. Team Liquid running a very wide 2-2 split. We've seen them do this a couple of times where they hold the top of Everest with 2 and then kind of roam around with the other ones down to the south.
Yep, that's kind of a classic PUBG maneuver. They're just going up to the mountain and
hints of Batulans on high ground getting information, right?
Absolutely. Kurt,
bye, Belmoth.
Hello? What is going on? These shots on the drive-bys have been cracked.
This was the squad that just got shot while they were trying to roam in. There goes Belmont's car, being a bit of a problem for the rest of FS. But with the new circle pop, it has leaned pretty far east. And remember that everybody was playing highly centered, so with this hard shift, the east is entirely open.
This is as far east as you can go, basically. That is punishing those poor teams that went for that early center circle. As we get a lot more ping-ponging again here at PGS 9. VP right by Twisted Minds. Perfectix got out of his car, but he got headshot. He is donezo. Beamy gonna drive right by with Nixie to try to finish him off. Smoke is there, but they'll just run in it. They should be able to find him. Yes, indeed. Back by the trunk. And into the lobby goes Perfectix for now. My question is does Twisted wait around to try to go for the revive? They can. Oh, but no. Oh, Batulans.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, they've got 108 on the leaderboard, 2 down early. We know that Twisted can rally, so that's not necessarily the worst thing, but that's not the start that they wanted. FS going to be sending it right down into the tempo dip. Begapa had their eyes on it. They've got a BRDM, but instead going to go ahead and retreat away from it. Red Zone kind of being a directed mirror of the center right on top of all of this.
This is so scary right now for Full Sense. This is not where you want to be when a Red Zone is coming into play. That's going to be Flame going down real early, trying to do a little bit of scouting for Gen G and just drove into Buram, who had moved out of the Pachinki fields and right into a nice position on the backside of Gen G. That's a bit of a fumble for Gen G. They're going to be kicking themselves. Don't want to lose a player this early in the game, especially against a team that wants to get aggressive, wants to fight, wants to have those 4 players for those setups. This time around, not going to be the case. Bean does have a bolt again. Remember what he did yesterday with that bolt. He was absolutely wrecking people.
This is kind of leaning along Death Road as FaZe is going to take down the other side, opposing Gen G in the lower sections of it. So Gen G holding down center of Death Road. It's going to be Buram to the west. 17 has taken over the potato part of Potato Hillside. Na'Vi has kind of moved a bit more into the east. The Expendables, with their hard fought, or I guess hard climbed for BRDM, going to continue kind of pushing in back behind FaZe. E-Arena is going to get the new red zone dropped onto them to the east, while we're going to be pretty close to them. Al-Qadzir running a 2-1-1 of their own for control. Team Liquid coming in. They've got a path up into the north, but they're going to be lined up right up against the blue zone. No big rush for them, as Opans looks like he's trying to just regroup with E-Arena in the red zone.
Yeah, this is pretty nice for E-Arena. You're able to get the loot for Opans, get him back grouped up. You're able to wrap up a little bit towards the east. And,
found himself a car, too. That's big.
Yeah, this is all coming up E-Arena right now.
Well,
I mean,
as best as it could be.
Exactly. As far as the circumstances of what happened initially, beyond that, not too bad.
Caster cursed red zone explosion. No, just
tried. I appreciate the attempt. You don't have the magic powers, though.
I don't. Everybody always says I caster curse people, but you can see I don't have the powers. I wanted it right there. I was going to use my powers for evil on top.
What do you reckon gives you the evil powers? What can you do?
Nothing. I have no caster curse.
So
ability.
you're just completely you're a muggle.
The closest that I can say is like, oh, that guy survived and then he gets shot in the head. That's the worst I can do whenever he's the last person up. But that's not even my fault because you lost 3 people before I even said it. So.
Satchram the Muggle. I got it.
Oh yeah, there we go. That'd be my life in the Harry Potter world. So up to the northwest we go. It's going to be FaZe, E-Arena, Al-Qadzir regrouping, and Team Liquid on the outskirts.
There's some tough rotations that got to be made. And this is into a decently playable part of the map, though. There's some trees, there's some hills, there's some forests. Definitely not the worst part of Erangel, to say the least. So should be a pretty fun one.
You can say that there's 4 forests in it.
You're not wrong. You've got the pun touch today, though. I will say that. You've had a couple good ones.
I'm trying today.
Yeah.
VP has wrapped around the Weak and Twisted, who went back to apps with their 2 members up. Here's the E-Arena wrap. They're actually going very far back into the north. I guess, hey, nobody shot at Opons and he didn't die, so this is the way to go, right?
I don't know what they're going to do. They got to be real careful because there's a couple rotation paths they can take here that are going to run them into teams that have pretty good setups. Hilariously enough, the best wrap I can actually see for them right now is crashing J Compound where VP is set up. 4AM left that a while ago, and now VP's taking up residence. The Expendables are doing Expendables things and looking for some opportunity to pick a fight with somebody. 17 might be on the receiving end of it if they keep going up Potato, but they're actually looking to take that path that runs kind of that safe ridge that's on the northern side of Potato Mountain. It seems like, I mean, 17 will see it. Oh, that's actually a nice shot from Xiaowu, but only gets the 1 tap in.
BRDM going to be tailing back behind this one. 17 still going to hold on to Potato for the time being. VP maybe could take shots at what could be happening. Fase going to go ahead and opt right in after D. This is going to be hard to defend multiple members. James, yes, down, but the rest of Al Qadzia rolling in. Is it going to be enough time? Vard going to take down D. Should be able to flush him. Does the rest of Al Qadzia? They commit, but the timing is bad. Gustav looks right into their direction. That's going to be Fex also finding Rello. Problems continue to mount for Al Qadzia.
Okay, this grenade could be a bit of a difference maker. Oh, Fex gets over the wall and only takes a scrape of damage. Actually gets hit on the way into the door as well, but doesn't get knocked. You do have 1 knock for Fase. Gustav connects on a nice headshot at range with the rifle. So that's going to put Cowboy back behind the crate to try to go for the heal. It does end up flushing James.
Okay, Cowboy, you're pretty isolated. Safe-ish, but right up against the zone. Only all of Fase right next to you. It's fine. Just take isolated fights. Nothing to worry about, really. Just continue to live your best life. At least it's isolated in full sense. Can't do too much because they're being pinned down. Circle does lean a bit north of center. Yeah,
that's going to be 4AM centered. That was a late stun from D, actually. He heard the players coming and tried to time it, but they just barreled right through. Took him down too quick. Oh, my goodness, Cowboy. Playing with fire. Oh, that's I thought that one's good. That one's good.
Dude, Al Qadzia has just had a day. 2 members feeling not too good. Been sliding down the leaderboard, and on top of that, their coach tripped going down the stairs and had to go to the emergency room, as it has just been one of those days.
It has been a no good, awful day for Al Qadzia. That is for sure. 17 driving on through. The Expendables actually had to stop up for whatever reason underneath 17, so that opened up a door here for 17 to rotate ahead of the Expendables. There is some dips over here. This is kind of the, I like to call this a Godv dip because of how much he loved this thing, but it is a little bit treacherous. You're going to see the car forts have to be set up. They're getting lit up by a couple different teams. It's actually Na'Vi from up on Potato that's doing the majority of the damage here. You're going to have to set up a drive-through. Gustav! Guyun ran his teammate over when he got out of the car. Gustav finally taken down.
Car went a bit too wide, could be used for a cover. FS also hears this. Remember, they were playing the bit further section down to the south. Rest of Fase actually rotating closer in. E-Arena.
Where are you going?
What do you want? I guess you want Team Liquid. Team Liquid trying to defend. They're taking the shots. Car got to get taken down. Oh, Pons can't find it. Good defense for Team Liquid.
Alo going for the the thirstiest long-range shots, but it's okay.
Dude, every point matters in their position.
Hey, yeah. They're claiming it. I like it. Might as well just put that links to use while you can. Nuren's on a sliver of HP, holding on, but Olympus has the sawed-off. Yeah, one way or another, he was dead.
I see mortars flying off in the distance. I don't know where they're going, but it's popping off in a lot of different places. Forest trying to defend their points. Begaput does get eliminated. E-Arena still just trying to survive on the tethers and the hint of life that they've got up against the blue zone. They could bump into Forest, who's been doing a good job of really controlling point. Center line in right now is going to be 4 Angry Men. Na'Vi having to deal with a lot of contenders, most notably in Buriram that has been roaming around this area. 2 members now down, but it looks like Na'Vi is trying to take the time to rest. Is Domestic going to let him have it? He could peek that side, but is the timing going to be there for him? Doesn't look like it. Oh, now he spots it.
Oh my goodness, Twisted is angling in this direction as well, but Damasti takes down Fairest. Now Khan hungry for more, but there's a molly there to slow him up. He walks into it anyway. It's going to take a bunch of damage for that. Oh, and here comes Tosi from Gen G. Everybody wants a piece of this fight.
Buriram on the outskirts. Unfortunately, the way Twisted's coming in after this, it's going to be more favorable for going after the defenders. So easy pickups on the outside of this one for Twisted. New circle is popped in, goes right up on top. 4 angry men. This compound not going to be in play. Twisted still continuing to punch around the outside of it. Doesn't have vision on Buriram. Buriram still having to be careful of Tosi's position, but not clean sight lines. Edie, rest of the squad now just starting to get up on top of this point, saying, hey, okay, you can just play down below us, but any peaks that go up and further enough around this one, Twisted is going to spot.
For sure. And I'm really concerned for both of these teams that are up here, because Twisted is being extremely cautious and patient. Tosi could have a role to play in all this. Buriram might just say, well, we did what we could. Another bolt-action rifle for Team Liquid. It's sparking with an AWM. Tosi done. Driven into by Buriram and can't even find a knock before his life is claimed. So still Twisted and Na'Vi 2 up each up on top of this.
Team Liquid actually finding some kills, up to 4 right now. That puts them up into 15th place over Al-Qadsia. They also have vision on what's going on with 17. FS, who's been finding some kills. Got to be careful. They're roaming more into the north. Twisted not done off of this point, but remember, it's not inside the safe zone, so I feel like this is just Twisted trying to make sure that nobody can backstab them as they make their way into the safe zone.
Well, they just want to take whatever they can here on the edge. Whatever points they can find. Going to be a little bit awkward. Extends with an ace there. You got a couple. Oh, these grenades are really, really nice.
Of course, they're going to roll right into where they're supposed to go. 4 angry men at range. Looked like they were trying to supervise some of this, but not really being able to get too much out of it, so they can't stop the roll of Team Liquid. Eyeing 17, they don't want to go too hot and heavy with it, so instead, just go ahead and continue to rain down the damage. Blue zone going to be chunking down Jiawu, and that's going to be enough. Alo picking up a lot of it. Pathing should be fine for Team Liquid, as now 4 angry men get some vision, as well as Forest to make it a bit scary. Lou has gone down, as it's just going to be example, the last one up for Twisted Minds.
The knock on a Sosa there from forever away. It wasn't even Twisted Minds. It's Falcons, I think, that gets that. Lou should be resable, it looks like. Buriram hasn't moved a muscle. Falcons are looming on the outside of this. They are going to claim the point for Sosa.
Avi wants this.
Extends he knows that they're going for the res.
Oh, the timing was just the absolute worst, though. Just about a half second too late. Lyrics trapped way outside right now, as FS going to be down to the south of them. Forest still just continuing to hold it. I gotta say, Forest has been kind of back and forth today. There is an opportunity for them playing this position, but they've got to be careful. Team Liquid starting to get vision, and they are hungry, man. Team Liquid needs points, and they want to see how much they can slurp up from everybody that's fighting in the open.
Yeah, if you can get a knock here from Sparking, that could open the door for another rotation. And it's likely you're going to have to make one as Team Liquid unless there's another hard shift in the circle department. Let's see where we land. Well, actually, they're still in it, so this is pretty nice. The hard shift does favor them and Forest a bit. 4AM might have to play a little bit of defense, but likely a lot of the team's going to get funneled to stuff around them unless somebody gets a crazy idea.
No, you look down there, you're like, oh, that's a squad with a BRDM, and there's 2 of us. What do we do about that one? We've got a tree. They have a BRDM. Okay, so we've got Buriram that's going to be to the east. Yeah, I mean, a good headshot could open up some options. Falcons also have to make a rotate, and they need a lot of points, as it is going to be Twisted with their 2 members still up at 111. Falcons behind that. Remember that Team Liquid was looking at Forest. There's just 3 points separating them out, but Team Liquid kind of more caught up on what's going to be going on. VP still alive, who's been having just a nutty day.
Love what Falcons is doing here. I was just thinking this. You got to rotate the other way. You can't go towards 4AM compound. You got to try to make a go of it on the other side. Flash gets H-Win. Tiggleton takes some damage. Flash going to back up. Look for the grenade. Maybe thinking about the point. Thinks better of it momentarily. Just says, well, I've got a BRDM. Let's get in this.
Here's the problem. We've got Buriram. They had the exact same idea. They're wrapping right in behind Falcons. FS has slowed down just enough of what the Falcons were trying to do, and Falcons realize they're getting pinched. They have to spin back around. They have to take care of points on 2 different sides. Debasti jumps out, goes for an easy spray. It's the Falcons just absolutely getting destroyed over here. The idea was good, and Buriram was just a second behind with it. FS holding down the line enough. It's going to be enough, but Shrimsy, can you turn it? Can you find something? No! He's going to go down. Follow-up nades now coming up from FS. Tigger gets a big one.
That is huge for Volsense. Oh, Edie, he actually wins that battle. Flash goes for the run over. Can't get him. Edie's just dancing. Happy feet, trying to stay alive, looking for the point. Flash is trying to block him from claiming his teammate's life. 2 Mesos in. He stole it. He's in it, but the blue
zone.
Oh, my God.
Denied. Dare you to go for it. You're going to have to eat some blue zone damage to get that BRDM back. But guess what? It's not over, Flash. You have to deal with Twisted. Rolling through right up next to him. Does get enough damage to finish it off. Twisted with a path into the circle.
And of course, it's because Twisted plays it just a little bit safer. Everybody else feels the pressure to commit to something, and they're going to get further into this game. They're going to continue to expand on their lead over the Falcons, over the rest of this lobby. Team Liquid under pressure, under a barrage from Forest, trying to respond with some grenades of their own. So far, no knocks either way. Kiss dangerously low, and Luke's grenade is right on the money. Sparking there, trying to play a little bit of point position with that level 3 armor that he has. You've got it for Alo too, so you got a lot of ability here for Team Liquid to win some straight up fights potentially because of that armor advantage.
The longer you let Team Liquid hang out next to you, it's just a matter of time before the throwables start to connect. Still having 3 members up, have to be a bit cautious. C4 had an idea, but really Forest wants nothing to do with that idea. They're just gonna go ahead and say, nah, you're fine. The 2 more members for Forest have gone over into the east. It looks like they're kind of defending up from the potential of where Twisted's gonna be coming from. Sure, 4 Angry Men still got the compound. Doesn't feel the best. Scappy does get the knock onto Lou, so Twisted going to be able to maybe get that res. I think there should be enough cover. Yeah, hey, look, I mean, a US on top of a rock, that's a ton of cover. It doesn't matter that it might explode at any given second. It's fine. It'll flip over you.
Nah, what could go wrong? Yeah, exactly. It'll just backflip away. Team Liquid is still putting the pressure down, but smokes are out. VP, who had a C4 kill onto the Expendables that we didn't get to see on screen. A 1-for-1 so far. Shen for Corexi, Lucarux for Shen. Oh, Corexi, though, hit a grenade on the longs. All of a sudden, 4 AM in a numbers disadvantage, maybe, trying to do what they can to take this fight. It's actually a 2-for-2 as VP had lost a player earlier. Beamy looking for the bull.
Lucarux reads it. Good shots from Lucarux. 4 Angry Men just getting dismantled piece by piece. There has been a cost for VP. Can they at least get over there to get the res onto Corexi? Does look like it. Lou just trying to make his way back over to provide the support. Nade from Shin. Is it going to connect? Does go along the line, but doesn't hit the way that they want. I did see a Panzerfaust in. Did that Molotov hit? Yeah, Lou's in a bit of trouble. He has to retreat from the window.
Oh, that grenade there at least going to claim a Tungmu's life. Lou didn't take enough damage that it stopped him up just yet. That Panzerfaust may be the difference maker. I'm sure it's in the back of VP's mind that with them holding this compound, but Luca runs in there. Sawed off, working wonders. Just one more player to go.
Oh, but if they double up, pushing up this stairwell, it could be a massive problem. Does take the shot! Lou instantly stops VP in the tracks, holding it for long enough, and I'm curious. The Molotov that connected forced him away. He wanted to try to Panzerfaust down, and he had to hold it to go for heals instead.
Yeah.
That might have been what turned it around, but Forrest now lined up against Team Liquid, and Lou in the compound by his lonesome.
Scappy on the backside finds Sparking, so that anchor position paying dividends for Forest. Alo throwing some stuns, hoping that he can try to get some damage done against this front line that Forest has created. They're flirting with trying to push over as well. They're still worried about Xiaolu up on the other side. Xiaolu seems content to just hold this down for now, looking over as best as he can safely. This looks like a pretty solid game here. Forest could get through on a chicken dinner, especially with shots like that.
11th and 12th lined up against each other. Now it's just a matter of momentum for Forest. Goes chasing after Alo. Alo does spot the attempt at a rotate in the vehicle. Scappy in some trouble. 2 members now running right up into his face. Flashes, I believe, connect, so that should be a pretty clean pickup. Lou realizing that there was an opportunity to maybe backstab. A moment too late. Doesn't get the knock onto Olympus. Now just a 3v1 as Forest knows where the last member is. Baron Olympus holding one side of it. Scappy on the other.
Yeah, this should be Forest game for sure. Right in the side, yep, Scappy's got him. And that is going to be a chicken dinner for Forest. A nice comeback here for this squad on day 2.
I mean, a chicken dinner for anybody outside of EU today. Finally seeing that broken up. But Forest, you can see, they know that there's still work ahead of them. Feels good, but they know that they need way more. Maybe that's just the start of something, though.
It very well could be, and I kind of hope it is, because those boys have shown us some really impressive stuff so far this year. Want to see it going. Team Liquid, hey, this is, again, they're getting better. Things are going better today.
I mean, we still have such a compacted leaderboard. It's not over yet. There are still points to be had and a ton to look forward to as we're moving to our last game of the day.
Game number 5 for day 2, and the streak is broken here. Forest Natural Gaming breaches the walls of EMEA and shuts them down. They didn't have to take out the EMEA boys. Hooray for Toffees. But they did have to shut down, unfortunately for you, Team Liquid, and then get themselves the win.
I mean, they played it very well. They had a nice spot on the outside. I think for me, it was a sort of 4AM and VP killing each other out. Made it very easy for Forest Natural to just finish this game with no contest whatsoever. It's nice to see them put some moves together. I'll go back to the previous PGS series at 7 and 8 when they sort of came into it and we said, what are these guys even going to do? And they surprised us. They actually have turned out to be a very aggressive, forward-thinking team. It's been a rough event so far, but it's nice to see some success.
Yeah, and with this one, just see from Xiaolu, a little bit explosive game here. And if
Crazy moment.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him having a Panzerfaust, that was actually a chance that VP could have got
100%.
another one, a third one, and it would have been insane. But there's two things for me that really turned it down. First of all, the C4 timing and kind of lack of impact that Liquid had onto Forest, right? If they did it a little bit earlier and got a little bit deeper, it would actually have been maybe a 2 kills or 2 knocks onto Forest, and Liquid would have had a chance, but they did it too late. Forest was able to kind of pull back from the fight a little bit, take space on the side of the road, and there wasn't anyone in the forest above them. I mean, Twisted Minds were getting shot by 4AM and everything, right? So that timing there was really first of all, the downfall for Liquid, but also the opportunity for anyone else.
And one of the crazier things for me in that fight was that Liquid historically has been one of those teams that we herald as excellent with utility, some of the best utility users in the world. And to see the amount of utility they burned to try to move through Forest Natural and not to be able to accomplish it was actually shocking for me.
Now, indeed, as we look across the faces of these players,
look sad.
Yes, they do. Not exactly the easiest of times for our Godzilla. I'm trying to think what they could kind of do indifferently. Obviously, D as a whole throughout the group stage looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Just not enough room for them to be able to really flex their muscles in this final.
I've heard that they're battling sickness. I've heard that they've had some of that going on. Is that an excuse? Not at this level. This is professional esports, right? You deal with what you have to deal with. That said, their goal here has always been to build experience for PGC, which they've qualified for. They're in the finals. They're already getting more than some of our other regional teams in terms of experience. So I think they need to just be positive and prepare to move into the next one.
The overalls, Martin.
Yeah. 5 teams for double digit here. 3 teams on 10 points, guys. Another, as I almost joked, another 10 points here coming in for Formigram, and they're kind of stat paying a little bit. Virtus Pro also 10 points here. Mostly off the back of a crazy C4 on Expendables
so
from
cool.
Nixie. And you love that if you have him as your fantasy pick for the day. But yeah, first, obviously getting the 6 kills. They're putting themselves into the 60 plus here, which is good, but that middle pack is ever so stacked.
The problem is Twisted Minds in that last game, they get another 8 points. Like, no matter what the gain is, Virtus Pro, Gen G, Falcons are pushing to try to close this gap, but every time they gain, Twisted Minds just skips a little bit ahead.
Yeah, they just never let up. I mean, it's not only the fact that they're ahead most in placements, but also ahead most in kills as well. They are just the full package. It is difficult to really topple them from that tower at the moment. That said, of course, if Virtus Pro continues doing what they were doing, and if for some reason they converted on this game as well, then you'd have another one very much in contention to try and challenge.
Yeah, one more game to do so another day, especially you want to build the foundation today. For me, though, the 160 points, it's more than 10 points per game average. 11 points.
And it doesn't let up.
It's not, no one's stopping them. And even in their bad games, they're getting their 5, 6, 7 kills and some placement here and there and pulling up on other teams and stuff like that as well, too.
there was a moment, of course, where we're looking and saying to ourselves, oh, EMEA shutting down Twisted Minds, right? I think it was Na'Vi that was able to really kind of take the scalps there and really at least slow them a little bit in this game.
Even when they slow them down, they find the kills because they're still wiping out 3 here, 2 there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you stop them. It feels like they've already won just based on what I've seen.
Terrifying stuff, a terrifying prospect for all of these teams, and one more game remains for day 2 of our grand finals for PGS 9. Let's get to it as we have one more Erangel over to Paper Thin Amatrim.
It's been a banger of a day, and I don't expect this game to disappoint. Squads in the hunt for any points that they can find, as it has been an entirely biased EU day on the leaderboards. Finally, Forest finds something. Who else can find something in this last one?
That's a great question, Matt. It is looking good for some of the other teams. Average kills, top 4 for Erangel through these matches. It's D, still up there, despite the struggles for Al-Qadzia, being Orca, and then Edie for Buriram. And yeah, man, look, hey, Thailand on the board now with a win. Maybe now it's Buriram's time, or maybe it's Full Sense's time. They've been second twice today. Come on.
Al-Qadzia has been on a bit of a slide today, but maybe Erangel can right them. That's why stats the way that they're set. Erangel was good to him yesterday. Maybe they can replicate it today.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the average points here, Gen G on top, but not too surprising to see 17 right in the mix as well. They have been so good on this map for so long. Generally, I like the way 17 approaches this map. They're so good out in the open in the team fights. But so far today, it just, no matter what map it is, it has not been their day. So we get a look here at the map, see where the circle says northwest. Okay, a little bit of the north in there, but looks like it's gonna lean south eventually. Maybe we get Everest finish, the best possible Erangel finish.
That would be good for Team Liquid, who has an inside track for it. We saw them playing Everest in the last game whenever it wasn't even needed. They could use anything to rally at this stage because that was a pretty big game for them. Going from last place up into 12th, they still have a pretty big jump before they can even get up to close to touching Na'Vi.
Well, still, the fact that they're getting close to Na'Vi is huge for them.
If anything, the way Navi's been playing, it's kind of shocking their position.
Yeah, they just had that win, and you think that they're just going to snowball into a good day, one of those like 60-point days that we very well know they're capable of rattling off. But
well, it just goes back to what we're talking about. They're such a great team, but the consistency just they can't find it yet. And if they do, man, that is going to be a terrifying team.
No doubt. I mean, Na'Vi is one of those teams that I'm looking to kind of go in towards PGS 10 and PGC as a threat. No doubt about it in my mind that they should be in the mix. Forest as well. You're kind of starting to feel like these guys have just been pretty steady this year, and maybe they're one of those teams like Full Sense, like Arena that could from Thailand surprise us, that could do like what Cerberus did in early PGS history, what the Expendables did at PGC last year, and maybe claim another title for APAC.
If you look at it, Forest is only 9 points away from 5th time. This is still a very congested middle pack. I mean, Team Liquid, if they have a big game, they can step into that same arena where we can see it's a quick rise. When we look from 5th all the way down into 11th place, just a game can flip this, depending on how all the other teams around you play.
Yeah, and every position matters, of course. Like you want to get those, that extra money. That's really what you're looking to do. It's Team Liquid doing what we expect, getting up on this mountain and probably try to lock it down for as long as they can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes other teams decide that they also want to try to be kings of the mountain and will contest you up there. To the Expendables, Delwyn. But I don't know for sure if he's going to go up there or not. Looks like he was just considering a little bit of a drive-by, seeing if maybe there were any shots that come through. Now, you have an opportunity here to at least pop tires as sparking, and that is exactly what he's going to go for. So Delwyn, realizing that, says, okay, we need to keep the tires healthy on this US, so let's scoot it on in behind the house, make sure that it's okay. Tanbu actually hit a headshot there onto sparking from range. Can they keep the rest of the tires safe on the Dacia? It's Full Sense has a pretty big split middle of the field. And again, you're going to expect a lot of teams to lean south on this one, but it still could go north.
The river being the line of demarcation that most of our teams are playing from, you're talking about almost everybody down to the south, just Begapa in the north. And I mean, kind of Forest, but they're just holding one of the bridge sides, you know, where the quads are at. So that's just an expectable rotation coming out from them. 17 roaming around in a very, again, centered meta, so you're feeling kind of good over here for now, but you got VP one side, the Expendables on the other, and Gen G to the south. If you're 17 fan, that's not feeling too good in 15th place.
No, this is feeling scary. Like, the closer 17 gets to the Expendables,
it's like they can feel it. Look how slow they're roaming. Like, this
you
feels
know someone's
bad.
there. Yeah.
This feels really, really bad.
It's like the worst team I'd want to go up against in that spot, too, is the Expendables. They are so annoying. When they're in a compound, I just feel like the Expendables are almost unbeatable. Like, they are just so sturdy.
You kind of hit it on the head, right? The kryptonite of the Expendables is they roam so much in stages. If they get into a compound that's strong early, good luck. They're used to fighting in the middle of a field wide out in the open with 3 different teams shooting at them and still taking down your squad.
Yeah. They're so good in those situations. As much as you talk about the Expendables as being a team that's happy to go out and do exactly what you're talking about, right? Like, fish for those kills, kind of poke and prod the defenses of the teams that are ahead of them in terms of center of the circle. Oh, Longs.
I mean, he had to take the shots. He was trying to hold for the angle Khan was coming for, but he's just firmly revealed there's not much. Oh, a Tongmu, though, at range provides some support. Are we going to see the peak come around? Longs hold on one side. Doesn't get the follow-up. It was close. The Tongmu, though, is here. The hero has arrived to try to provide something for his squad. Can he manage to polish off these kills? Khan in some trouble at half health, but doesn't look like a Tongmu spot him as another reinforcement comes in from Shen.
Yeah, a Tongmu on the drive-in. Got a big knock there that set up Longs to at least get one. Him and Shen now. So is the duo here that are in for 4 a.m. A Tongmu looking for those grenades. They think he's on the outside, and they're right, but the grenades are just going too far.
Cooked maybe just a bit too long. The longer this goes on, it is denying out any res opportunity for Buriram. So while the peaks are starting to happen, it's just going to be a matter of time until the contain comes in. Khan runs into the Wizard Tower, finally finding some safety, but it's not feeling too good. Khan does get the knock onto Shin and goes for the flush. Tongmu runs around. Going to be enough, as that's pretty much all she wrote for this area, but 4 Angry Men doesn't know that.
Well, the good news here for 4 a.m., there is the ability to go for revives.
Edie is pretty far away from this. Actually about to have to deal with Begapa.
The decision here from Buriram was to send 3, and that's just how it goes. You either win that fight or you don't, and then you're going to leave that solo out on their own. And he might also maybe be able to get a revive, but with Bagelpod driving in the vicinity of 4 a.m., if they suss out that that's a weak team, they might go for it. The other problem is the Falcons also angling in this direction. So you got a couple teams that could kind of keep 4 a.m. from maybe going a little bit further into this game.
4 Angry Men are actually leaving the compound, but Edie has already had to send himself pretty far into the north, so I guess you just kind of got to let that one go at the stage. Begapod does look like they're kind of hunting in back behind him, but I think that they're just going to have to let him go, send on his merry way. 4 Angry Men now getting close to the Falcons like you're talking about, but not close enough to be a problem. Kick's not going to have good vision on this for time to take a shot, so not even going to opt in to going for anything at that stage. Irina kind of rotating into the south as we do have Fase, Na'Vi pretty close to each other on the hillsides to the south of Pachinki. Gen G going to be pretty comfortable into the west of that, while FS holding a 2-2 split in Gaka proper. Team Liquid still holding their Everest and north compound of Everest split.
Yeah, so still Phase 1. Don't know what Phase 2 wants to do. Diggleton wants to chase down 4 a.m. maybe. I think they're looking for the revive. Extends, let loose with a grenade. A little bit of damage done here to Phase, but nothing catastrophic, nothing critical. Na'Vi not really looking to commit too much to this. Just some harassment for now.
Shout out to VP holding a very strong set of positions along ruins to the north and to the west of it. And Falcons, yeah,
they know. They know.
Yeah, they're going to come after this, and this could be a problem.
Edie's here too?
That's a prolonged situation that's going to surprise Edie in a way that nobody's expecting. Nade's going to bounce, going to get some damage, but not enough to get the knock. So now going to reveal Edie going for the shots onto a Tongmu, and now Falcon's even going to be surprised. The Tongmu's like, what the cha? How is Edie here of all people?
And I'm sure the Falcons are thinking the exact same thing. Like, why is Edie also here? Is he also going for a revive? But the Falcons are trying to completely surround this revive station, do what they can to deny, but they got to be a bit careful. The longer this goes on, the more blue they're going to chew through, the longer they're going to not give themselves, you know, opportunities to maybe get a little bit ahead of the curve in rotations. I like this idea. It's just Edie kind of threw a wrench into the works here as you're looking for Xiao Lu, who's just proning. He needs to survive so those revives can actually get in.
Edie got the moral victory before he went down, at least. Like, with my last breath, I stab at thee. Circle pops, and it's going to be very favorable for Na'Vi and everybody that was playing to the south. Begapa going to have to make a wrap, and of course, Al-Qadsia to the east, as well as our Yasnaya situation, going to have to do a wrap of their own. FS is going to be rolling pretty close to 17, as well as VP. Looks like VP is going to go ahead and go for their regroup. Team Liquid also looks like they're making a commitment more into the Everest ley line.
All right. This looks like a Badlands finish, maybe. Mortars, interesting to think about in situations like this. Duckjuice there. You're going to see Xiao Bei, and this is a situation that is unfurling based on what we saw earlier. Genji holding the line against the arena. Flame and Tosi going to do some serious damage there, as this is inside of the next circle, but kind of on that edge by Pachinki, so it's okay. It's definitely going to be just fine for now, but Irina suffering. Going to have to lick their wounds and scoot on back. Forest, fresh off of a chicken dinner up by the ruins, looking to try to find a way in through this 17, the Expendables sort of barricade. Full sense, up above VP. Nothing really to speak of in this fight just yet. A little bit of damage tickling in as Tigger will throw some smokes to make sure that he's a little bit safer. Hakatori's like, I hear you shooting. I want to get involved.
I mean, that's a lot of smokes being used at this stage just to survive, so that's not going to feel too good the longer that this game goes on. Begapa is also rotated into Ranjak just a bit ahead of Falcons, so that might be a potential skirmish that's going to be brewing. That's kind of about it right now. It's just pot shots going at FS from VP most notoriously, who are in a great spot and feels like they have some momentum in this game already.
Well, 4 AM does survive long enough that their revives are in the chopper. Where does this go, though, is my big question. They're going to go way up towards shooting range, actually. So they're trying to stay as far away from the madness south of the river as best they can. Pachinki going to be the stopping point for Al-Qadsia. This is an okay spot to be in, I would say. It gives you a lot of control over this circle in terms of if it starts to shift north towards that Badlands, you can do a little gatekeeping, at least scoop up some kills, you would hope. And they're going to flank out a little bit. Let's look at what happened here with the arena. They just try to drive by Genji, and Tosi lighten them up, and then Flames turn up to bat, and he knocks it out of the park. Nasty stuff.
It's hard to wrap around in that area, and you can see why. Al-Qadsia now taking the shots into where we can see a kind of interesting situation that's brewing over here. Nobody committing into the Badlands, no surprise on that. The closest team going to be Begapa and I guess VP, who's got some sight lines playing along Boatyard and the Yellows, respectively. Ruins still kind of a key component that we can see Forest playing around. Falcons going to go ahead and be wrapping in the blue zone while in the red. Pretty much living that purple life, I guess.
My favorite color.
It's my favorite color, too.
Oh.
This is why we're best friends.
That's true. That's true. It is the best color.
It really is.
You can never tell me otherwise. So actually, funnily enough, school is wide open for the Falcons if they need a place to get into the circle, get into some safety. They just haven't quite sussed that out just yet, or maybe they just don't want to. They want to maybe see what the next circle does, but it is going to be Badlands focused. So VP, in the middle of all of that chaos, going to have some tough work ahead of them to just kind of hold on to those compounds. I mean, that is not bad as far as this circle goes, as Ruin's going to be claimed by Forest. Begapa has Boatyard. Al-Qadsia has to leave their compound, and they're going to try to make a play maybe for the mountains that are just outside of the Boatyard.
I mean, a BRDM moving into Badlands early, using the BRDM for cover, not the worst. You do get a lot more opportunity with it. This is going to be for Angry Men's a Tongmu now coming, I think, back in. I don't think that this is an emergency pickup by any means. Team Liquid does have an emergency pickup that they called. I'm not certain if they'll take it, though. I don't know what else you could get out of it unless you just kind of wanted to jump across, but that doesn't feel very good in this circle.
No, not a lot.
They let that one pass.
Not a lot feels great in this circle, to be honest. So you have to be pretty diligent with your scouting, as the Falcons are trying to be. But with Twisted Minds already set up on the compound that's situated between school and Pachinki, you actually have some tough decisions to make. I mean, the edge of Pachinki is in. That was left abandoned. Actually, it's been marked here.
There is the roadside, right? With the roadside being right along the edge of the zone wall, you can use that hills that are kind of over there. Stopping that point, I think that might be what they're looking for. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and kind of gun it along this point. Good enough. Team Liquid going to go ahead and send it into Gen G. Orca. Orca's going to be like, nah, bro, I want nothing to do with that. Going to be running. Oh, hey, does a barrel roll, does a couple of flips, and still manages to land it at half health. Respect.
Style points. Let's go. As the Falcons had the same idea as FaZe. So the F team's going to be facing off. Boy.
Sorry, just the
F word. The F word teams, is that?
So we've got FaZe throwing some utility. Shrimsy does spot out Vex and takes a shot to at least slow him down. The rest of FaZe, remember, Gustav's actually pretty far away from this, and while this is happening, E-Arena actually makes landfall into Pachinki as well, so a potential third face that might show itself in this firefight.
That, I would think, is more likely to cause FaZe problems than Falcons, given how they're situated in Pachinki, if it comes to that. Just have to see what E-Arena wants to do. Tiggleton on a late rotate in. He actually is going south of where the rest of the Falcons are, somehow, some way.
That's a big emergency pickup for a squad that needed just something. I mean, after kind of what happened around Yasnaya. So,
I'm reminded of a phrase from one of our friends who used to cast the game with us, by hook or by crook. 4 a.m., trying to get in.
All right, E-Arena, they are wrapping more south. Gustav did regroup at Church, so that's going to be pretty close to Na'Vi of all squads. It's getting pretty hot around Pachinki as nobody really wants to make too much of a committal in. H1 actually kind of scouting pretty close to Al-Qadzi as the new circle pops. This isn't going to be in play, and H1 is the wrong neighborhood. You're going to get popped easy. Rello's going to take that one for near on free.
This is a tough situation for all these Pachinki zoned teams. You're going to have to fight your way in. Kind of one of those situations where you'd love to wait this out a little bit, let everybody else fight around you, and then make your move. Falcons tried to get ahead of the curve, could not do so. 4 a.m. in the air.
Oh,
Xiaolu gone. A Tungmu, can you get on the ground? Trying to use that parachute to move around a bit. Does so. Long's already in the vicinity. So for 4 a.m. Shen over here as well. You know what? This could be a lot worse.
It somehow managed to happen, and everybody's kind of next to each other again. Is sure. Make whatever you can do. Is Ruins isn't the worst place to be. The Expendables are going to be just to the west of this, Forest to the south of it. Here comes some.
Those are for Na'Vi.
Is that going into Na'Vi?
He had it at almost 300 meters.
So it's going to be Kickstart that gets the knock onto Gustav. Opan steals it away, and now FaZe realizing there's a lot of friends around them. Vex goes, all right, well, I guess if we're going to send it, we just got to send it. Goes after Tig, does find it, but Kickstart gets through. Oh, that car almost could have been a problem for Kickstart.
It got him right in the invulnerable state, so he didn't get flushed by the car. It's going to put Tig in the car and say, we're going on a journey, my friend. Buckle up. Here we go. Shrimsy already a little bit further ahead, but I think at this point as Falcons try to let everybody else fight it out. You see if you can find some level of safety to get this res to go. Vard is down to the blue and taking some damage. Opans is like, thank you very much. Take that point and continue on as E-Arena finds their moment to strike.
FaZe now in a lot of trouble. Na'Vi completely surrounding them. Falcons trying to regroup. James, though, he has some solutions for that one, and that's going to be the shotgun. At least get a point out of it. Shrimsy spots out what's going on with Opans. Gets an easy shot, and now it's just going to be the continued trek of these squads all stacked up next to each other. But Na'Vi has to be careful. They still have Gen G to the west of them.
Yeah, Na'Vi not completely safe by any stretch of the imagination.
Get there. There you go.
Yep, that's okay. No problem at all. Tiggleton just doing a little leapfrogging here for the Falcons. Immediately gets lit up by Na'Vi, trying to press forward. A grenade, if he had gone any further in their direction, would have been knocked potentially. So he's going to have to rethink how he wants to maneuver.
We've also spotted, Begapa has spotted out Twisted Minds. Looks like they were trying to drop a couple mortars over there. Falcons had the same idea Al-Qadzi had, and Hakatori's going to spot out Tiggleton. Easy pickup for him. That's going to alert positioning. Gen G, you can see, trying to swoop in behind this one, while Falcons just trying to get into the circle somewhere. It's just time to be bold. It's time to be brave. They're going to run next to FS. That's going to get instantly punched by Beamy. Shrimzy just sending it. It's going to be getting close now to Team Liquid, who's got a pretty wide split. Purdy Curdy just out in the middle, going to spot this. Shrimzy has to abandon the vehicle, drops down, explodes. At least some cover to be had.
How is he not dead? He's on 1 HP there. He got a little lucky that Purdy Curdy got lit up when he tried to go out of the shelter. Finally finds his opportunity, gets the first aid, gets the finish. Bagel Pot cannot take this fight cleanly. They are hemorrhaging players left and right. And here comes 4AM Shen with a P90 from behind.
Badlands fights are just going to go this way. It feels like there's enemies all around you. 4 Angry Men, they need something. It has just been brutal for them this entire game, but Twisted Minds now being the new threat right next to him, and Begapa just punished right in between the two.
Gen G losing players to Na'Vi on the other side, trying to take a fight on the southern edge of the circle, but this is looking dire for Park Pro. He's just sitting here hoping he can maybe squeeze out a point or two, or maybe 4AM will keep Twisted Minds from cresting that hill, so he can just sit in the middle for now. But you would think one way or another he's dead. Orca trying to kill off screen. Perfectix had just taken a big chunk out of Shen. A Tungmu returns the favor, at least for 4AM.
Quick update to the south. Gen G and Na'Vi did bump into each other. Gen G finding the better end of that situation. Park Pro, the longer he can survive, he's just kind of become a fence between these two squads. Neither one of them wants to push into position because they're afraid he might go for any shots at him, and he's going to eventually run out of smokes here in a while. Twisted just finally going, okay, we just have to deal with this problem. Let's just go ahead and leapfrog into this point. Park Pros inside the US trying to use it for cover, but Lou's finally going to go ahead and go for the shots onto him. Example going to go ahead and find with it. Shin tries to prep up a nade, but how cooked is it?
That was scary there. Almost flushed onto Example. He's got the P90. Oh! He's got one, but Perfectix is there for the trade. That was almost disaster for Twisted Minds.
Tongmu still holding the angle on this. Goes for some follow-up. Nade does drop onto Perfectix. Example almost bled out, but Tulin's going to commit into the res. And, I mean, there's some loot to be had over here, but here comes Alcazia. Back wrapping in. Spots out 4 Angry Men. Sprays are easy and clean. Points to be found. They're just picking off everybody. All the firefighting coming back over into their favor. 6 kills now, as it is going to be Twisted Minds eliminated and 4 Angry Men out as well.
Love this decision from Alcadzia. A perfect time to strike. Meanwhile, mutually assured destruction here between some of our teams. 17 on overwatch of what's going on below. The Expendables, Team Liquid, suffering heavy casualties, trying to find some way through. And Xiao Wu with the Dragonov is going to take Clories out of the equation. He's going to see Tanvu. That's another here for 17.
Gen G has been popping off down to the south. They are sitting at 10 kills now, tied up with VP. We have Twisted out and Falcons out. VP tied up with Gen G at 83. There is a big opportunity to continue the climb and try to make this a 4-horse, if not a 3-horse race. 17 in vehicles, makes the wrap down into the new circle, and VP getting circle love yet again.
Xiao Wu taking an aggressive position, still have a player of the Expendables out in the blue to worry about. Purdy Curdy, 3 shots left in the AWM. The level 3 vest already pretty beat up here for Team Liquid. Sole survivor, and he's just going to try to chill this out as long as he can. He's still in another circle, so he's safe for now. It just depends on if anybody wants to try to crash his position. The BRDM can be healed up, as Alcadzia probably can heal up a little bit of the armor as well, potentially. 17 safe. They avoid disaster from a backstab. Xiao Wu good on watching that rear, as Gen G can just kind of slow creep their way into this southern edge.
4 kills for 17, starting to find some successes in their firefights right now, and they've got themselves at least a good position to start inside the circle. Eyeing into VP's position while they have been getting some circle love in that compound, they have to be careful about Forrest and Alcadzia, who are both eyeing positions that could be playing around. We all know that those yellows coming out of ruins to the south does have that hillside that recesses down it. Alcadzia might be trying to make a gamble play for that, or maybe even Forrest. Gen G to the south in their reign of terror has to be careful, as they're going to start now leaning into the east, and that could be the new focal point. That hillside right outside of VP's compound starting to get a lot of attention between Forrest as well as Alcadzia's BRDM.
Yes!
And Purdy Curdy, nice!
Oh my God, absolutely disgusting from Purdy Curdy. That is some nasty AWM shooting. That makes my day. That right there, that was worth it.
Here we go. This is the Hillside Firefight VP kind of supervising. Nice bounce on that nade. Going to cause some problems for Alcadzia. Forest in defense did leave Kiss behind while Alcadzia left Roth to try to protect themselves.
I like this from Alcadzia. They're going to set up a nice defensive line from Forest. Not much VP can really do right now unless there's some good grenades that are going to come Alcadzia's way. Roth trying to get in, takes a whole bunch of damage. Olympus will set him down. And there you go. That's going to be Roth out, but at least for Alcadzia, you're somewhere. I don't see any frags here in Scappy's hands, so he can't immediately try to punish that position with any of the util. It's just a matter of what does Forest have behind that. They're actually going to start scooting these vehicles back, trying to, again, keep Forest as barricaded as they can. Gen.G has to just sit on top of this mountain. They don't want to give any more freebies over to 17. You lost Orca earlier to 17 Gaming. Instead, Bean with a 3x on an AUG, just hammering down a little bit of damage. 17 pinned in that position for now. Purdy Curdy, what can you do? You hit one of the most disgusting AWM shots we've seen in a while. Is he going to be good for any further follow-up? I think he was out of AWM shots. There are those grenades. Olympus connects.
I mean, BRDM is going to be enough for protection on it. Does Forest opt into running? Looks like they want this one. But it's going to be Flame from Gen.G that actually takes the shots to protect Alcadzia. Flame gets the knock on.
They needed some kills out of this. A phenomenal center circle position. You're gifted, 9 on this one, and you're just going to try to lock it down. And anything you can get, still, I have to assume they're holding on to a ton of util, a ton of frags.
Yeah.
At this point, they've been in this since I can remember in this game, so certainly could be devastating for a team like. Like Forest, but for now seem
right into Alcadzia. They know that Alcadzia is weakened. They're going to crest the hillside, see if they can go for a shot. Not going to connect with the way they want it. Good pickups coming up from everybody as 3 different teams take shots into Gen.G to drop them.
Yeah, just nowhere else for Gen.G to go. Great defense from all those other teams, holding Gen.G out. Don't even give them a sliver of hope to try to make anything happen. Meanwhile, 17 able to claim some space outside of Virtus.pro's compound. There's enough of a hill here that as long as nobody's able to get up on the roofs, which at this point would be very, very dangerous for Virtus.pro, you're going to be good to go to just lock down this side of the map. It's all about what happens on the other side of Virtus.pro's compound here. Are they going to be able to claim any more points? Is Forest going to be able to come out of this with all 4 up? Can Alcadzia do anything? Those are the big questions for our final 4 teams.
It's been a VP day. They have been just massive every single game, finding big points, finding success, chasing up to the top. They've got the compound, but they've got threats firmly surrounding them on every single side except for the south. They can't get too involved in anything without being afraid that somebody is just going to try to backstab them. Forest down low with Alcadzia, as we've been watching for a while. Little Ghost creeping closer and closer by the second. But it's going to be Beamy that starts to spot out what's going on with 17 Gaming. That could open up more of a firefight. No matter how this goes, Forest and Alcadzia are still very uncomfortable next to each other.
It's still right on top of VP. Phase 8 will end outside of their compound, though, but just barely, it looks like. So going to be kind of tricky for 17. They might be able to gatekeep VP out of the center circle long enough, as long as nobody does anything crazy to try to make a wide wrap. I mean, maybe there's a world where Forest tries to swing around, but knowing how many players are left in the lobby, you're pretty aware that the western edge is going to be occupied. Grenades are good.
Yeah.
The follow-up to take down Rello. Now it's all on to D, but we've seen what he can do.
He's got some cover to play from, the way that the smoke line comes out. If Forrest goes after this, D could have the angle to just demolish this approach. He's got to be careful. Lots of utility is coming after him. Limpus knows exactly where he is. They're going to be content on one side of it. Good peek around. Baron tries to play from the backside, seeing if he could surprise, but D does not fall for it. It's going to be enough, though. D with that knock. Is it going to provide any form? Then yes, 17 is going to use the distraction. They run right into it, instantly take off to the roofs.
That could be the winning move here for 17 Gaming. They now have control over the center circle ahead of Virtus Pro for sure. In fact, even Xiaowu finding the knock onto Nixie. So Virtus Pro in scramble mode because now they are pinched between Forest and 17 Gaming. This has gone from looking like a VP for sure win into, oh no, we are in trouble.
Forest just sending up any form of cover they can to see if they can make this a bit more dicey. Actually just going to use it to get on top of the roof, maybe compete up against some of the 17 positioning. 17 has inside track to the center dot whenever we start to see this collapse in 20 seconds-ish or so. Now 17 on the outside still has little Ghost to play from to provide some supporting angles. VP now trapped in the compounds that's been providing safety for so much, but we know this squad can absolutely pop off. Is it just the fact that there's too many teams on top of them? They can't find anything to make it work, while Forest is continuing to climb the leaderboard.
Olympus is going absolutely crazy right now. He is hitting everything he looks at. He is making life miserable for everybody. Oh, Lil Ghost, how do you get down to safety there?
Forest off that last game, continuing their momentum. Xiao Bei does manage to follow up onto the nade, but Baron at least manages to secure the point onto Beamy. Xiao Wu, the rest of 17 sitting at 5 kills and control over the circle for now. Forest trapped on the other side of VP. VP trapped in their compound, not able to move. Scappy looks like he might just go for a bit of a position with the car, but he takes a lot of damage. That's going to stall that out. This is getting dicey as everything is starting to condense down to that center dot.
Imagine if you had a C4 here as 17. You could actually just clean up like 6 kills with. Oh, there's a C4 for Scappy.
Oh,
my God.
Big. Where does he want to send it? He's so close to VP. They could use that, or they could just roll it right through the center of it all. If he can get right into the mix of all of this, 17, do you even expect this to be coming? It's going to be close enough, but the timing for it's not going to work. The explosion comes out, and everybody manages to get to some form of safety.
It did push Lil Ghost into Nixie's viewpoint. Oh my God, he's got underneath him. He's got the shotgun underneath. Corexi on the other side of the vehicle. Xiaowu trying to lock down this angle. If he can win this fight against Corexi, maybe they can contain VP.
It spun everything around. VP used the opportunity. Panzerfaust right into Nixie's face. 7-7 up on top. Goes for a sneaky play back behind it all. Running out in the thick of a quick exchange going on for everybody. But it is going to be a big game for 17 Gaming.
Yeah, your PGS 7 champions have found success finally here at PGS 9. Able to close out day 2 with a much needed chicken dinner. A stellar day for Virtus Pro. Yeah, they couldn't get the win here, but they got 2 chicken dinners and they shot up the leaderboard.
And 2 big back-to-back games for Forest. That was close. The timing on that C4, if it had gone just maybe a half second to a second beforehand, it would have just been a game changer.
It's all I could think about in that final circle. I'm like, if somebody has a C4, this could go real crazy real fast.
Well, it is gone crazy. It has been a nuts day. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Toffee's Colaris and Avenger.
A big recovery to end the day for 17 Gaming, who has been able to blast back, fire back in what was a bizarre finish to game number 6. I don't think I've ever seen 2 teams fighting across the roofs of this compound with hidden underground Virtus Pro lurking in wait to try and do something with it. It was their compound all along, and it was stolen away from them. I've got Toffees and Avenger to talk about this one. Toffees, 17 Gaming blasting back.
Yay.
They did it.
It's about time.
Yeah.
The problem I have with 17 is, yes, they've got the PGS 1, they've got the PGS 7, they're a pedigreed team, they've got the GPT, they've got some of the best players in the world at one point here on this roster, and yet we get these moments where it's like, yay, they finally got a win, but what impact is that going to have on the overall with 6 games left to play? Not enough. They got to start stronger early on these days.
If someone stops Falcons and Twisted Minds, it could happen, but still, it's for me, I would like to see that in the first half of the tournament rather than in the middle of the second half of the tournament, right? And for me here, in this game, this was really a symptom of everyone was just shutting down VP. VP should have been out and taking, one of the edges. They should have taken the north side or holding like one of the edges, but it was just impossible. They had both Acadesia, they had Forest on that side, 17 crashing them early on, taking the roofs, and it's just it's a little bit rough for them. It would be cool to see a 3rd win on the day for them.
But it is very nice to see them get that 3rd win. I will say this for 17, this is a team that has, for the most part, the lion's share of this crew has been together for a very, very long time. 3 to 4 years, essentially, for the 3 players who've headlined this thing. And I do sometimes watch them play and think the burnout is real. The good news is that PGS 10 is right around the corner, right? So this is what 17 does. They sort of amp up. They use the first PGS to get ready. I think by the next one, they'll probably be in better form. And then the good news for them is we're only 2 to 3 weeks from them moving on to PGC right afterwards. So if there was ever a time for an amp-up team to turn on, this is the place to do it, and we're seeing a chicken, so maybe it goes from there.
Yep, some laughs coming out from Algadir as well.
That's good to see.
Yeah, definitely, because they didn't look like that before this game.
They looked miserable.
Yes.
And if you know Roth, that's not the look that he generally is working with.
No.
It's been a tough day. Cowboy, who had an outstanding group stages, absolutely gutted right now.
D have some moments as well here, though. I mean, this is definitely something for them to really kind of get those wheels a turning into day number 3. But as you can see here, as they kind of get defeated by the looks of things. But also, when we eventually look at the overall leaderboards, I am informed that Na'Vi will be getting a consolidation point. But before we get to that, it is time to head on over to the interviews here with Lisa to round out the day.
Hi, welcome to the post-match interview. I am Lisa. I'm here with Tegoten from Team Falcons. So you guys are currently sitting in the top, and the point gap is really close. So how do you feel like your overall performance is throughout PGS9? And for the final days, any final changes, adjustments tonight?
It feels like the games we've been winning, we weren't supposed to win, and the games we've been losing, we were definitely supposed to win. It's been a bit hot and cold. Definitely not our best performance, but we can clean it up for the last day.
That makes a lot of sense. And also, speaking of performance, your C4 against Fase, I would say it was one of the highlights of PGS9. So from your own perspective, can you tell us what did happen?
My mental image of the map was completely out of whack. I thought the Fase were in a different dip. So I was like, yo, I'm going in. And I drive over the ridge and I see no one in front of me. And I'm like, boys, I had some words to say about myself. Maybe the Team POV stream caught it, but yeah, not my brightest moment.
All right, that's fun. That's fun. Just a round dip. And also, finally, yesterday, Batuling standing here, same position, same time. He was saying, Falcon's not going to win. Any shoutbacks?
I mean, Batulin's a really nice guy. He asked me for a hug earlier today, and I actually said no to him. And that's probably why we have bad karma, and that's probably why we're losing, to be honest.
All right, so you're behaving better to him, right?
Yeah, I would treat him well tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Tegoten. Thank you for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we're having Perfectus from Twisted Minds. Welcome to the stage. Another interview for Twisted Minds.
Hello.
Okay, hello. And you guys are still holding the first place in the leaderboard. It looks like you guys are a step closer to that trophy. What are you feeling right now?
I don't know. I'm not feeling nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, just trying to take another trophy. Yeah.
Oh my God, they are so used to trophy. They're just feeling nothing. All right, and also come into the finals. The point gap is low. It's very close. And any teams you would pay special attention to, maybe in the finals?
To be honest, I don't care about any team, because I'm not watching the leaderboard in the games, so I don't know who are on the second, who are on the third. I don't care.
Oh, they don't care. This is how powerhouses do. They don't care. They don't look at leaderboard. They don't know how to feel. They're just so used to it. All right, thank you so much, Perfectus. Thank you, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I believe the analysts feel the same way, so let's head back to them.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Yes, hearing from the top 2 as they look to trounce the rest of the competition. And I think it's a good mindset to have as we take a look at the results coming in from our last game, of course, 17 with 11 kills to their name. Forest Gaming again in one of these top positions, Martin, to try and put themselves forwards.
It could be a run for maybe a top 8 towards tomorrow, right? Our mid pack is extremely tight still, even for 17 Gaming here. That's going to put them potentially into the top 9, top 8, something like that as well. And that matters, PGS points, prize pool as well, but the real story has been today, of course, who's been at the top. They've really been able to build that foundation for themselves. Although, fantastic game here with 11 points, plus the win, that's 21, that's a big banger for them. And Xiaowu, yesterday, you would hope that this was his performance.
I would have.
But you dropped him, James.
Yes, and you know what? Even though I did, I still don't feel too bad about it, actually.
Sure. Regrets.
This really is the one game. Of course, Xiaowu will take man of the match, and usually I would be like, he's always a fantastic pick to go for. It's just not really materialized in the final just yet, up until this point. We need to see a big day from them tomorrow, Toffees.
We need to see a big day from them tomorrow to get me excited for PGS 10 for them. And I think that's the big takeaway. And the big part of that is what we just heard in the interview. Lisa said, what are you thinking about to perfect? He's like, I don't care what's behind us, because honestly, they're so far ahead, they don't even need to look backwards. As long as they contain a consistent 3 points per game, maybe 4 average at this point, it's their tournament, no problem.
I mean, when a runner's that far ahead, sometimes looking back is detrimental.
Yes,
right?
it is.
You just focus on your own run with them being that far ahead, and look at it. They're topping every single chart going out of day 2. Of course, on the heels, Falcons, Virtus Pro had a great day, because there was a world, Martin, where yes, they had 2 wins on the day, but they kept getting towards late games, and there was if something had gone differently in this last one, we could have had a Virtus Pro 3-peat on day 2.
Yeah, it would have been insane. And also, that would make it even closer here. Another game here where we get 5 teams on double digits, you know, the teams that are outside here. Gen G, only 2 placement points, but 10 kills coming their way. 21, of course, as I said. 12, 12, 11, 11. Huge amount of points for the mid-pack teams, and another good game for Virtus Pro. As you said, can they continue? I mean, I talked about it in the beginning of the day. The foundation needs to be built today to be able to hunt down for the podium tomorrow.
I mean, to me, it's Gen G right now. 10 kills, 12 points. The previous game, they got placement, not kills. They're now in 4th place with 84. That is a really impressive climb for Gen G.
Up at the top. All right, so we finished day number 2 with Twisted Minds at 121. A crazy lead they've been able to extend. Team Falcons, as we've got some few fighting words here and there, maybe out of Tiggleton. Not quite as feisty as old Batulins, but he's also a bit of a realist. He knows that it will be a difficult catch-up.
When you're 24 points behind in a 12-game series, that's 2 points per game more that they have been putting up every single game.
Every game.
But that's what it comes.
Come off the back of winning the Esports World Cup, and now Twisted Minds is looking to take another PGS, a 4th PGS if it actually does occur. It's so difficult to take away from the Titans. Well, a huge thank you to everybody tuning in around the world, and a huge thank you to everybody that makes it possible backstage. Been it for day number 2.